that one. Not that one. That one, not that one. Let's do the purple sunset. There we go. Very nice. Where the fuck is Wilco at? Are you sure we're live? It doesn't say private or anything? Alright. Let's see. Let's see. I need a drink of tea. So, I have not had a bong hit yet today. I'm about ready for a bong hit. I thought you guys might like to join me for a bong hit, so I went ahead and went live on the YouTube so I could join you for a holiday bong hit. Isn't that nice? Sharing joy. That's actually the name of my favorite porno movie. Christmas porno movie is Spreading Joy. That's the name of my favorite Christmas porno movie. If you get a chance, I mean, it got elves and everything. It's really good deal. Really, it's memorable for sure. I think it's actually kind of hard to find. It's very vintage. Let's see. Where were we?
Doesn't that one star Dick Hertz and Sharon Peters?
I don't think Dick Hertz is in that movie. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, right. Okay. So we were talking about stealing Christmas joy, right? So, some people seem to be a little bit, I don't know, upset or frustrated with me that I didn't post any videos about this Nashville Christmas bomber, you know, and I want you guys to understand, okay? The Nashville Christmas bombing took place on Christmas Day at about approximately 5:30 my time, Pacific time. That's when they started at least broadcasting news about the bombing on Nashville on Christmas Day. It was about 5:30 a.m. At 5:50 a.m., I was on the story. I first saw the story at 5:50 a.m. on Christmas morning. And I went back to make sure that it hadn't started way earlier, like 4:30, 4 o'clock, whatever. But no, like again, as I was saying, the first airing of the story is about 5:30 a.m. So 20 minutes after it hit, I'm on it, and I watch it for the next 4 hours. Okay, and I didn't post any videos about it. And people are frustrated because, you know, they're like, oh, you know, Mike, you're supposed to be a guy that's watching this so we don't have to. Right, I am watching it so that you don't have to. So that you don't have to turn on CNN on Christmas morning and see some fucking nothing burger of a story that they're going to broadcast for the next 2 weeks. That's meant to do nothing but terrorize you and make you afraid of your neighbors. Because your neighbors, if they got an RV sitting in their front yard, man, they are fucking potential terrorists. So you know. If your neighbors have an RV sitting in their front yard right now, they are potential terrorists. And by the way, they keep making a big deal about this guy building his own fence around his house. He built his own fence. He built his own fence. Again, this is the Christmas bomber in Nashville. My neighbor currently is rebuilding the fence that we share, and you know, he's this little Asian guy with a beautiful family and a beautiful dog, and I don't. It's like if he only had an RV sitting in his front yard, everybody'd be looking at him cross-eyed. Again, these people are here just to generate fear. You understand? They're here to make you afraid. And on Christmas Day, I'm looking at this, and I'm going, there's nothing there. And the reason I'm watching it for the next 4 hours is to make sure that there's not a second bombing, or a third bombing, or a fourth bombing. Because if you get a second bombing, you then have an actual event. Okay? One bomb does not an event make. You know, potentially it does, but it doesn't. And this was, again, Craig got out of bed at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Christmas morning, and he's like, bombing in Nashville. What the fuck happened? I was like, oh, some idiot blew up a meth lab in downtown Nashville. And then he was like, oh, a meth lab blew up. It's no big deal. All day long, it wasn't like a big deal. But if you're getting up to share your Christmas joy first thing in the morning with your family, and here's this terror, 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 terror. Terror, 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 terror. And then it makes it hard to turn away for the rest of the day from the terror, terror, terror. Oh, wait. Oh, we just found out this about. We may have found human remains at the scene. And these are not the things that you want to be sharing with your Christmas day, unless it's absolutely necessary. If there had been a second bombing, if a second bomb had gone off, I can guarantee you I would have been on it within minutes of the second bomb. Because then we actually have something happening that everybody needs to know about, regardless if it's going to ruin your Christmas day or not. The thing that happened in Nashville was a nothing burger that the fucking mainstream media has spent the last 7 days doing their best to ruin your holiday season with. Okay, make sure you're afraid. But again, I should point out that on my radar, it's not exactly a nothing burger, because when I see the media hype, when I see this event happen, it's kind of like, and considering the week before last week, I was telling you that my hair was on fire with my terrorist radar going off. That there's to be aware, because there is an event in the air, and I still believe that, and I believe that this is just kind of like it's like see, it can happen. It can happen. Anybody can get one of these RVs. Anybody can be your neighbor. Does your neighbor have an RV in their front yard? It could be him. And the thing is your neighbor building a fence? Huh? We don't need this. You don't need this. You don't need it, especially on Christmas Day. So I'm not, unless it's an actual thing that everybody needs to know about, I'm not going to post shit about this on Christmas Day. To say, oh, look, terror, terror, terror on your Christmas Day, when you should be enjoying everything there is to enjoy. Taking a minute to take a breath. One of the news clips I have says, our day of greatest hope. When you wake up in this moment of greatest hope, Christmas morning, and all the children have the little sparkles in their eyes, and then there's a terrorist event. Again, it's the terror, terror, terror. They want that in you. They want you afraid of your neighbors. You're not enough afraid of your neighbors because they're wearing masks. You now have to be afraid of them because they're building a fence, because they're having this, because of that. And I've told you guys this all along. This isn't something new. This is the reality. And I don't know how the media, I don't know how these people live with themselves. Because it's not just the mainstream garbage. It's not just the Don Lemons and the Sean Hannitys. It's kind of easy to understand how somebody with the ego of a Don Lemon or Sean Hannity can misinform you day after day purposefully, and act as if they're doing what's best for our country and our world. Because they're complete psychopaths, and what they want is they want you afraid. And what they want you afraid of, as I've said again and again and again, is your neighbor. They really like to have you afraid of your own shadow, but they can't infect your shadow with the Chinese flu that's going to kill the entire species, right? But if they can, they will get you afraid of your own shadow. But for now, we have to make sure everybody has masks on. We have to make sure if you don't get the fucking vaccine, you want my babies dead. You want to kill my babies. That's why you're not getting the vaccine. You are a threat to me and my family. This is what the news is doing. This is what it's programming for you. You're being misprogrammed, programmed. And it's from the time we're little. From the time we're little, there's all this fucking garbage programming that's just meaningless and worthless and will add nothing to this world, to this planet, to this species furtherment. And yet we just gobble it up and then we feed it to the children. And I think at first the children know, oh, this is bullshit, this is bullshit, this is bullshit, this is bullshit. And then it just becomes so much easier not to want to fight with it. You know, I just want to enjoy this. I don't want to go, oh, my mom and dad are full of shit. They lie all the time. Everything in society is completely full of shit. All the pillars of, as I've said again and again, all the pillars of our community completely full of shit. All the politicians, the religions, the medical industrial complex, the Pentagon, you know, everything. The police, completely full of shit. You know, and the children, I think they actually, I think some of them, I think I did, at a certain point kind of realize everything's fucking full of shit. And then it becomes like a decision whether you kind of want to buy into the shit or you want to fight it the rest of your life. And for most people, fighting it isn't really like a choice to be made, because all it's going to happen is they're going to get beat up on by everybody, by their parents, by their teachers, by the rest of the community, by their brothers and their sisters, because they won't just fit in and do as they're told. Doesn't that sound like America? Fit in and do as you're told. It's and nothing's, and there's no discussion being had about it, right? That the programming is wrong. The programming for humans is wrong, and it's wrong from the very beginning. And we have to kind of stop everything, like absolutely everything. We have to just stop, and we have to decide as a species how we're going to move forward. If we're going to move forward into bullshit, completely accepting the bullshit, completely surrounding ourselves with bullshit, completely covering ourselves in bullshit, deciding, you know, that this is the way it's meant to be, this is the American way, this is the way that it was before I got here, this is the way it's going to be after I leave. As many of you know, this is what I buck against. This is my whole existence on the YouTube, is that after I leave, you know, I won't be able to do anything then. But I have the time to do something now. And this is why, long before there was ever a YouTube, I was reaching out to anyone that wanted to listen to say these very same things. There's something extremely wrong with our government. And they're hurting. They're hurting not just you, not just your neighbors. They're hurting your children and your children's children and their futures. And they're doing it on purpose, knowingly. No one in the Congress ever has this discussion that we're programming people incorrectly, that we're making them violent, that we're making them never-ending need to consume more and more and more. How is this what we want to program people to be? The only people who want people to be that are rich people. They don't want you to think about the programming. They just want you to consume. They don't want you to think about whether the war is based on lies. They just want to say jump, and you jump. Because they snapped their fingers and said, hey, there was a fucking terrorist attack, people. Goose step into fucking line. Okay? We got to go kill people now. And by we, I mean you poor people have to go kill people now. And we're going to spend all your children's future to do it. But it's little brown people and no one likes them anyway, so don't worry. No one will even notice. But you know what? Generations from now, people are going to notice. People are going, and I really hope the offspring of the Dick Cheneys, of the George W. Bush, of the Barack Obama, that they are stripped of all their possessions because they were gained, through immoral efforts to hurt our society, to hurt our people, to hurt your children's future. They deserve to have things taken away. All right. So, if anybody wants to call, there's a number on the screen there. It's 805-669-6397. In case you can't see it, 805-669-6397. And again, I'm not here to take your joy. I'm not here to, tell you how things are supposed to be. I'm just telling you what I see. And trying to encourage you to focus on something better than what the mainstream wants you to focus on. Hello, caller.
Michael Spokane, yeah. Wait, hold on. Let me unplug it. Hold on. Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you. Where have you been, my friend? I've been so worried about you. I did something to upset Pete. What happened? What did I do wrong?
No, bro. You never did nothing to upset me. I'm a human. I may as well. I'm as close to homeless as you could possibly get and still have a home. That's me.
How is that?
Don't worry about me.
How is that possible?
Well, because I'm constantly on the fringe of just thinking about ending it all, Michael.
That's not true, right?
Well, I mean, not my life. I mean, like career-wise.
Oh. Well, that makes sense actually. Because I can hear inside your soul, and I hear this artist that's just screaming to get out, and that it feels like a slow death for that artist where you work, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I do when I come home from work. Is I try to be creative, and it's not working out so well because
you'll find
when you work 8 hours a day and then you come home and try to write a song. It's tough. You got to chisel away at it like a little bit day by day.
Well,
and it's tough,
The best art comes from pain, and so I understand, but a man has got to have priorities too, and the pain can be like not necessarily doing a job that you don't want to do, but quitting the job and the comfy life that you have so that you can focus on what's more important to you. You know what I mean?
I love my job too. That's the thing is like I don't have a job that I hate, but it's like work. It's like I enjoy playing music, but it's like writing your own songs is work to some degree. So it's like So it's enjoyable, but it's not sometimes. You know what I mean? So
there's a new documentary about the Bee Gees on Showtime or HBO or something. If you get a chance, it's really good. If you like that, if you're an art, if you like music and you have a little bit of feeling about that time, like the 60s and the 70s, the British invasion and all that, is pretty darn enjoyable.
Cool. What was the name of it?
It's a documentary about the Bee Gees. I'm not sure what it's called.
Where'd you watch it?
It's either on Showtime or HBO.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Cool.
So, are you getting a little bit of time off for Christmas?
Yeah, I got time off. I'm back to work now, but I had a nice 4-day vacay.
4-day.
How you been doing, bro? How was your holiday?
It was fine. My friend Sam came over and hung out with me and Craig, and we watched this movie. What's that movie? Gosh darn it! It's The Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford. If you like dog movies, you'll really like this movie. If you like dog movies, The Call of the Wild is really enjoyable. Otherwise, it might not be that good. But we hung out. We did McRib sandwiches for Christmas dinner. Right? You still there?
Mm-hmm.
And what my friend Sam did was he took 2 racks of pork ribs, baby back short ribs, and he
You made homemade McRib.
yeah, he baked them in the oven, and then all the bones just slide right out. So he just pulled out all the bones.
Oh yeah.
And then we just cover them in sauce and throw them on the barbecue for like 5 minutes, and then he made homemade buns out of this fucking amazing bread. So we had McRib sandwiches for Christmas dinner.
Fuck yeah, there's nothing better than a nice rib.
Yeah.
Barbecue rib.
It was pretty good.
All day. I'll fuck with that all day, son. Oh yeah.
And
That's
again,
American as fuck. That's some red, white, and blue shit right
hell
there.
yeah. So, did you get to hang out with fam for Christmas?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Mike. Hold on. Think of it.
You're smoking weed now, Pete?
Yeah, dude, I gotta make a batch tomorrow, actually. Hold on. What were we just saying?
You get to hang out with family.
Yeah, well, not edibles. What else was I just gonna say? Oh, what a surprise! I lost my train of thought.
What are you smoking? What strain?
I don't know. There's some shit that I get from my mom's. My mom, who's like a 60, almost going on 70-year-old pothead at this point. Jesus Christ. And the guy that she gets weed from. So I don't know. I don't have questions. All of it's amazing. It blows my mind. It has enough dust on it to blow my skull out of my ears. So
It's the Christmas special. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for my JVC small camera, the one that I bought to copy videotapes.
Huh.
Rick's here to borrow it, and I can't find the damn thing. Don't mind me. Just ignore me.
So what's going on? Are you got plans for the New Year's?
Pete?
No, I don't. It's interesting that you asked that. I don't have any plans.
Well, but that's what you're making.
I just thought of it for the first time now that you asked me that.
You're making gummies, so you're gonna have plenty of edibles, right?
Yeah, I gotta make some. I've been smoking. I've been exclusively smoking for the past 2 or 3 months.
Oh, really? Wow,
Someone?
that's a long time, Pete.
Yeah, dude. I just one day just smoked, and I was like, you know what? I like this.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting like my chest issues are coming back, so I'm like, I gotta go back to the edibles. Well, you know why? Because my edible tolerance got super high.
Yeah, you were saying that
for a while. Yeah, I was talking to you about that, and so I've been just smoking exclusively, but I'm gonna be cutting back. I got it.
Yeah, a bong hit's nice, a couple times a day, but it's better to have a little something in your belly to keep you going. So you don't,
Dude, the edibles, the edible shit is way better. I mean, the edible high lasts way longer, and you do build up a crazy tolerance to it, like pretty quickly if you do exclusively edibles.
I don't, Pete, I don't think that's necessarily true if you don't start doing 20 gummies at a time. I think that if you stick to 2 or 3 or 4 gummies, is probably, but I don't want to tell you how to use your medicine,
Well, everybody's different, Michael. You know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So, dude, I wanted to talk to you about this. Have you heard about the COVID sniffing dogs?
Nuh-uh. I haven't seen anything about that yet.
Well, apparently there are dogs, I don't know what type of dogs they are, German Shepherd, canine types, that can apparently sniff out the COVID-19. Have you heard about this?
No.
What's the punchline?
Apparently, there's dogs that can smell people if they have COVID-19.
Yeah, well, dogs are amazing. They can smell. They have like 30 times stronger, sense of smell than humans.
Now, I don't necessarily know if this is true or not. This is just something that I heard from someone who is pretty smart. So I'm just gonna think that it's true, and say that it's true to everybody else.
Well, I'm sure they're
Right.
on the way. I can. It makes a lot of sense at the airport, right? They don't have to sniff for drugs anymore. They just sniff for your little COVID and say, okay, you're out of the line, pal. Come with me.
Yeah, they can. Well, they can sniff for drugs. Well, they can actually. There's dogs that apparently can sniff. There's diabetic patients, right? Like if a diabetic's about to go into a coma, there's certain dogs that they can train to actually smell if someone's about to go into a coma. A
Wow.
diabetic's about to go into a coma.
Wow.
I don't know how that's fucking possible. And for epileptics, Michael, you might be interested to know this. They can train dogs to know when people are going to go into epileptic seizures somehow. I don't even know how this is possible. This is all just things that I have heard.
Yeah. Well, dogs.
I haven't researched any of this.
Dogs
But
are,
these are just things that I've heard.
Dogs are really amazing. I mean, I think people really don't give them anywhere near the credit that they deserve, and I think that it's another resource that's just not tapped into because humans know everything, Look, we don't need fucking dogs. We know everything already.
Yeah, right. The longer a human being lives, the longer you realize we don't understand shit about fucking anything. When I was young, I thought we had the whole world all figured out.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, we're done. We're finished.
It would have been nice if it would be nice if somebody was just trying to figure out the whole world. It's like we're not even. It seems like we're not even trying to figure that part of the puzzle out, Pete. This is my big problem. This is what I've been talking about the whole show. Basically, is that we're being programmed incorrectly from the very beginning. And it just distracts us from trying to figure out what the puzzle is all about and our place in it.
Yeah, it's true. And hell, even people that think they have it figured out don't even know if they have it figured out. Everything's so confusing now. We're living in just a living puzzle.
It seems like the very few people have figured. It's again. It comes back to this thing where we're being misprogrammed from the very beginning. I mean, what are the chances of you figuring something out if you're misprogrammed from the start? What are the chances of figuring it out? And then if you do figure it out, what are the chances that you actually figured it out correctly, knowing that you were misprogrammed all the way along? So.
I think most people with enough social interaction figure it out. And social media too. I mean, fucking A, man. I think social media is a big help because I didn't grow up with that shit, and I think that would have helped a lot with I think it helps now with people staying informed.
I don't know. I think it helps if you have somewhat an adult mindset and you kind of understand how things work. But again, it comes back to this misinforming thing. If you have the adult mindset, and if you don't have an adult mindset and you're in the social media, I think it can really tears little kids apart every single day, all day long.
I didn't learn shit until I got I had to get arrested 3 times until I learned my lesson. That was my fault.
And what, until you learned you didn't want to be arrested?
No, until I learned that I had to behave myself.
Yeah. See, you don't have to behave yourself, Pete. You don't have to. You just have to not be so obvious about the fact that you're not behaving yourself, right?
Right. See, there's an art. There's an art to that, Michael. There is an art to that.
Yeah, you don't have to get
you learn about that at a very young age. How to conceal yourself.
Well, some people are very good at it. Some people are like chameleons, man. They walk into a room and they just feel the room and they immediately change into kind of what they expect that room would expect of them, you know?
Yeah, dog, totally.
I think actually a lot of people are kind of like that.
I know Killer Mike's on hold, and I apologize, Killer Mike, but
Pete, Craig said he hung up.
he's probably sitting there very angry. I apologize, Mike. I'm going to be talking to Mike.
Craig said he hung up.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, man.
It's all good.
He hates me so much.
I don't, I don't think it's you, Pete. It's you have to stop. See,
I'm trying to
let me finish this. Let me finish this. Okay, this is an important thought. This is what people do. They say he hates me so much, or I hate this thing so much. Right? But you should just stop at hate. You don't need to continue the sentence any longer. He hates. I hate. If you just stop at hate, then you realize that's not who you want to be. It's not what you want to be doing. But if you pinpoint it, focus on this one thing. Well, it's just on this one thing that I hate so much. But now it's all consuming you, this one thing, Just stop at I hate. Just stop at he hates. Because that's really the whole thought. It's not so much that he hates you. It's that he has hate. He has hate. And he expresses it. He expresses it towards you.
You're right. Okay, then yes, that's a perfect explanation. Yes, he has hate within him.
He hates. Stop the sentence
there.
He
does. He has a lot of hatred. Maybe it's a little misdirected at me, I suppose.
There you go. I mean, I think that's the real problem. Is you start thinking that it's okay to go, oh, well, I hate this one thing so much. It's okay to hate that one thing because it's not like everything. It's not like people. It's not like, but again, it's okay to hate that one thing. It's okay. It makes it okay to hate. And then once it's okay to hate this one thing,
there have been times where I feel like he kind of, he's waiting for me to hang up, and then he calls in. And he's like, Pete, and he gets this whole thing in his head where, like, I don't know, like I'm like the epitome of all evil or something. Like I don't know. He gets all worked up. I don't know. Maybe that's all in my head.
Look, Pete. Again, this is it comes back to this thing where he hates. It's okay to hate. If you make it okay to hate, then it's not you. It's okay to hate. So this is my new object that I hate because it's okay for me to hate because I made it okay for me to hate. So I hate this object now.
Well, you know what, Michael, I'm not about hatred, bro, and I know you're not either. So let's just move on from there. Let's not continue the cycle of hatred.
No more hate.
So I know I haven't talked to you in a long while, and I'm very interested, kind of, to hear what your thoughts are on. And I haven't been listening much, but I want to know what your thoughts are on the Donald Trump coup, the supposed coup, and I love people using the term coup. Okay, I personally don't like the term coup being used. But what do you think about this? His objection to the election result.
Well, I've said this again and again. Okay, in 2004, after the debacle of the 2000 election, when George Bush was inserted into the White House by the Supreme Court, John Kerry in 2004 election, once he became the nominee, promised that every single vote would count. He said, I will wait until every vote is counted. And then in the middle of people standing in line in Ohio in the freezing rain because they fucking eliminated all these polling places and stuff, there's people standing in the freezing rain in Ohio waiting to vote. And they sure as hell weren't standing in freezing rain waiting to vote for the fuck up George W. Bush. Okay, and John Kerry, who promised everybody's vote's going to count, and Ohio's down to like 0.1%, says, "Oh, George Bush wins. I concede the election." While people are still fucking voting, you know. So I personally am honestly, I can't stand Donald Trump, but I'm really happy to see this kind of thing happen. Also, I want to point out that that in the movie, the Michael Moore documentary Fahrenheit 9/11, at the beginning of the movie, they go over the 2000 election in which the Supreme Court inserted George W. Bush into the White House, and they go into the Congress certifying the election, certifying that George W. Bush was going to be, and a bunch of members of Congress stood up and said, "No, we do not support George W. Bush becoming president of the United States." That just as they're talking about doing now, and now all the news people are like, "Oh, these people are traitors to our. This is the way our whole thing works forever." No, just a few years ago in 2000 election, there was members of Congress, lots and lots of them, standing up to protest the outcome of the election, and then they couldn't get a single member of the Senate. The House of Representatives was protesting. They couldn't get a single member of the Senate to join them in the protest, so it ended there. But when they act like this is outrageous, that they're protesting this, it's not outrageous. This is the process, and I'm really happy not to see Donald Trump or Joe Biden as the potential next president. That makes me want to vomit until I die. But I'm really happy to see people wanting to fucking fight to make sure that the vote is correct. Which is again.
Yeah.
I'm really happy.
I absolutely agree. And the media acts like, oh my God, I couldn't possibly comprehend that people would question that.
Right. How can they question the outcome?
Possibly be compromised by anything.
And I also, knowing that this is just news from the last 48 hours or so, I also want to say that Donald Trump, again, I'm no supporter of Donald Trump, but I'm just so happy to see somebody veto a goddamn defense bill, this National Defense Authorization Act vetoed. I've been waiting for fucking 20 years. They've been doing that. They've been fucking firming that bullshit for 20 years now. I've been waiting for somebody to say, "No, this shit stops now," and we got a fucking dipshit that's gonna do it. I mean, what the fuck, man? And why the fuck does he wait until the last minute? So this is why Trump is not a good person, because he waits until he's almost out of office. And if he wasn't almost out of office, I don't think he'd be causing these waves. If he had clearly won the election, I think he'd be,
because he would need to get his campaign finance.
He would. I can tell you, right?
Like that.
Exactly. He wouldn't in any way be going, "Oh no, we're gonna hold, we're gonna put the military in check."
He's trying to save his legacy, so to speak, in his last few days.
I don't think that's it. I think honestly, what Donald Trump has been doing for the last 10 days, 2 weeks, a month, since the election, or a little bit less, since Thanksgiving or so, I believe what he's been doing isn't so much that he's trying to save his face as that he sees these politicians going, "Oh, we're going to go on Christmas break now." And he's going, "Fuck you, you're not going on Christmas break. Veto the goddamn defense bill. I'm not signing this. I'm not signing that. You get back in there and you're not going on Christmas vacation. I don't get to have vacation. Nobody gets to have vacation, So I think that's what he's doing. I honestly think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, he might be right. It's crazy. It's crazy, bro.
So,
it's crazy.
Are you drinking anything? Are you drinking anything special?
Hold on. I gotta smoke this bong.
I want to edit the title.
What's that?
No, I'm talking to Craig. It's really good to hear from you, Pete.
Michael, I love you. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And fuck Hillary Clinton, a fucking big fat cunt. And we're simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Woohoo! Doo-ba-da-doo. All right, buddy.
Nice to hear from you. Hey, Pete. I hope things are going okay. I when you talk about checking out and all that shit, it makes me concerned because people get the Christmas blues, man. I know how you artist type are.
And a Happy New Year.
All right. Well, I hope that you have a wonderful New Year too, Pete. And I'm glad, like I said, I'm really glad to hear from you, bro. I hope things are going okay. Just take more. Can't you take more time off?
Yeah, bro. Every day is time off when you're Pete.
Okay. Well, that's a good attitude,
Every day is a new day. Yeah, well, I guess every day is a new day, technically, right?
More or less. Hopefully.
Smoking the dough.
Okay, Pete. I got another caller. I'll talk to you soon, I hope. And if I don't talk to you
Michael, I love you. God bless.
Happy New Year, bro.
Happy holidays. Praise Allah and beg Tawfiq.
Talk to you soon, I hope.
I love you, brother. Peace Allah.
Yeah. That's our buddy Pete, Drunk Pete from Rhode Island. I bet it's cold in Rhode Island. I should ask him. I'm about ready for a bong hit. He's making me all jealous. He had like fucking 4 or 5 hits while I'm sitting here. I did a bong hit. It's not fair. I didn't get a bong hit. He got a bong hit. What's the deal? How come everybody gets bong hits except for me? I don't want bong hits. I think it's really important what we were just talking about, honestly. This thing with the Defense Authorization Act, like I said, the defense bill, I've been waiting forever for a president to say no. The people that I represent, these people of the United States, don't want the goddamn Pentagon spending all of our blood and treasure on fucking bullshit. And it's it'd be really nice if it wasn't about, just all about Donald Trump, because it's all about Donald Trump. I've been waiting for 20 years for somebody to veto a defense bill, so that we can actually make some genuine priorities other than war in this country. And Donald Trump does it on his way out of office. Now, if he had done it in his first year in office and said, yeah, no, we're not doing this bloated, fucking never-ending war of choice based on lies bullshit anymore. There's a new boss in town. He didn't do anything like that. He surrounded himself with fucking war hawks like John Bolton and and just proceed to do the same old, which is really, really unfortunate. Anyways, follow me and do exactly as you see. I don't think that was a really big hit. But it was necessary. I'm running low on weed. I haven't been pressing as many flowers as I should be. Pete, you really need to get a flower press. I'll try and direct you the right way. If you're going to be smoking, you need to be vaping, so that you're like just smoking the little bits of the weed that you really want to be smoking. That's the way to do it. That's the way we do it these days in the 21st and a half century. Don't you know? All right. So I'm thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. I'm really glad to see you. I again, well, it's you guys that make the show worthwhile. If it wasn't for you guys being here, there'd be no reason to do this whatsoever. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, Chris. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Christmas is over.
Yeah, I keep thinking about you the last couple days when I've been on my dog walks. I've been like, hey, it's staying light longer. I bet Chris really likes that.
Yeah, I do.
Did you notice? Did you notice it all, or like for me?
Yeah, I noticed.
I noticed like it seemed like a big thing actually.
I know a lot of people say, well, for 2 or 3 days it kind of lingers, but on like the day before Christmas Eve, the 23rd, I drove down to work. It's 25 miles south of Olympia, and I noticed right away. It was only like 2 minutes or something, but I noticed, and I certainly have noticed in the last 3 or 4 days since then. And it's going to continue to get light until about June the 22nd.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. I mean, as far as whatever, I mean, I'm happy with that. As a person who likes to be outdoors, when it's dark and it's raining, it's not conducive to being outdoors. So yeah, I am happy, and I hope that Craig and you and your friends had a good holiday. A break and a chance to reflect, like all of us do this time of the year.
Yeah, I think we got a little bit of that. It's nice to hang out with friends. Craig got to take a little bit of a break, which is really good because he doesn't do that very often. He has to drive to Eastern Washington tomorrow. Did he tell you that?
Yeah, that's what he said. Over the mountains to Wenatchee or something like that, right?
So he's a very busy guy. It's good to see him get a minute off.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that it isn't too stressful, and that during the drive tomorrow. That's not. I mean, depends on when he drives. It could be a pretty stress-less drive. Driving at 6:30 in the morning over the mountains, there might not be a lot of traffic. He might beat traffic. I hope he does.
He's a very professional driver, very excellent driver. So it's like he does a really good imitation of Rain Man. So I'm not worried about him.
So I don't know. My Christmas was okay. I mean, I spent it with people, friends who I live with, and I had a friend who I've known for 30 years. Who spent Christmas with me and my housemates. So it was with a group of friends. But I got to admit, Mike, I was pretty much like the odd man out a lot of the time when it came to discussions.
Huh.
And it's basically my opinion about COVID-19, and my skepticism about COVID-19.
Huh.
And I'm also skeptical about a cashless society. All right, those are two subjects that I just kind of feel strongly about. I don't think it's a great idea to go to a cashless society. I'm not really a technocrat. I don't have a lot of faith in institutions.
Do you feel that's something that's coming really quickly? Is that why it's concerning you right now?
Yeah, well, Yeah, I do. I think it is coming. I think this great reset that people have been speaking of is a phenomenon that was going to happen anyway. Like robots and artificial intelligence, they exist. Like artificial intelligence is real, and it will become smarter and smarter and smarter as time goes by. And robots already exist and are replacing workers. So I do see this kind of automated reality becoming more and more real. And part of that is we'll be a cashless society. And people like yourself and me and Craig and others who maybe are like Gen Xers or baby boomers, we may be given the luxury of being able to live in a society with cash up to a moment because we're old people, right? But the future really...
I just got lectured on how I'm like the odd man out on that, you know, like, nobody uses cash anymore, you know, you're just, you're a dinosaur, you know, whatever.
Exactly. I was called a Luddite, and I looked at him and smiled, and it's like, I said, of course I'm a Luddite. I mean, you've known me all of this time. Of course I'm not a big fan of technology. Does that make me wrong? I
always find that to be such a strange insult, you know? Like,
yeah. It was a compliment, but they didn't understand it as a compliment. It was intended as an insult, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I am a Luddite. I mean, I resist technology and only make changes when I have to, because I find that a lot of the technology that's being pushed on me, like I only need 5 applications on my phone. I don't need 25 applications on my phone because I'm only using 5 applications on my phone.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to like go to the next level. I'm content with the level I'm at. You know, that kind of philosophy. But this way of thinking is abhorrent. They're so afraid of it. And I don't know why it is. Like, they want to embrace the technology. And I see it as almost a submissive authoritarian act. And, you know what I mean? Bowing down to power a little bit.
I'm not sure. No. What do you mean?
So being dependent on your phone and voting, like, for a Republican or a Democrat, and being convinced that the world is just fine, and that technology is going to solve all of our problems. So why don't you just embrace the technocrats and everything will be fine? That narrative.
This is what they want. That's the programming again, and that's what I've been talking about from the beginning of the show. Is that we're misprogrammed, and that's the programming. Is that the technology knows what's best. This is the answer to all of our problems. We just have to keep moving forward until we get it just right. And I don't think that's true. I think we have a lot of answers, that we're causing more problems by moving forward without knowing what we're doing, ham-handedly, so to speak.
Yes. Very, very kind of like off the cuff and irresponsibly, without thinking about the long-term ramifications of what the fuck is going on.
Right.
For example, like with the COVID-19 lockdown, who in the world knows what is going to happen to an entire year of kids who don't interact with other kids? Just for example. Like, I think there's going to be some social problems as a result of that, that they may not have forecasted into their we're going to shut everything down kind of way of thinking. That's just one example from the last year. So, after this Christmas dinner and spending this time with a friend of mine who was like a housemate of mine 30 years ago, I've known this person for a very long time, I haven't really had much of a conversation with him in a while. He starts texting me, like, the very next day, continuing the conversation about how surprised he is that I don't fucking understand that COVID-19 is real and that we need to have a lockdown.
This person who came over to your household to have somewhere to go on the holidays.
Yeah. So I spent 1 hour explaining in explicit detail all the reasons I thought the narrative was fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? He proceeds to text me as though he's like totally flabbergasted that a rational, reasonable friend of his would disagree with him, and then repeats his talking points. I send him like 75 pages of articles and 2 links. And I said, and there's thousands of more articles I can send to you if you're curious about why I'm suspicious of this. right?
Yeah.
He doesn't send any articles or any authors or any other analysis besides like the 6 points that he put forward initially, and then proceeds to call me a Trump supporter, and proceeds to tell me that I should trust the World Health Organization numbers, and says one source that I've trusted a lot is the Worldometer's coronavirus countdown, which is like something I discovered last December and is at the bottom of every newspaper article that anyone reads in the United States. And that's it. And I'm a bad person now, right? It's just bizarre. So I note this, and I mention this tonight, only because people who are seemingly rational people, like my friend Richard, for example, I've demonstrated against war with Richard in 1990, 1996 when we were denying aid to Iraq, 2000, 2004, 2006. Richard is a pretty rational human being in the past, since I've known him. But for some reason or another, he is so afraid of Donald Trump and of like people who deny the legitimacy of the virus that he won't even listen to their evidence. He just calls them names and puts himself in a bubble. And I don't think he's like unique, right? I think a lot of Biden supporters are this way.
Sure, you'll find a lot of the people like this when it comes to climate change also,
Yeah, we had that conversation over Christmas, too. And my point was real simple, yeah, kind of similar to yours, Mike. I actually do believe that maybe burning carbon is maybe causing global warming. But at the same time, I don't see electric cars as a solution to the problem.
Right.
Like,
you got to make the electricity somehow. The electricity comes from somewhere.
Yeah. Earlier in the program, when you talked about decreased consumption, I agree with you completely. Like, we need to change the whole way that we think, and that includes having a lot fewer kids. It means using a shitload less resources, and it means doing a lot of other things as well. But the very beginning is.
I think what should be recognized is that the resources can be used in such a more clean way as to not waste them, because right now the resources are just being just basically bubbling out of the ground like, oh, we have this forever, we never have to worry about any repercussions from letting resources bubble out of the ground forever. No, and we should just keep spending it as quickly as possible, because that's how people make money. I think that 1/10 of the amount of resources that we're currently using, we can do everything that we're currently doing. And that's the real problem.
I don't know about everything.
I'm pretty sure.
We could be comfortable. I think we could be comfortable and still live and communicate with people and shit and have a meaningful life, but we could use a lot less than we have right now.
Yeah.
I think that's mandatory. And especially if you live in the United States, Japan, Europe, the Northern Hemisphere, where we use a lot more resources. I mean, we're way more guilty of using resources. Americans represent 4% of the world's population, and they use 25% of the world's resources.
Yeah.
So we disproportionately use more resources than people in other parts of the world. So, but part of the problem is bringing down population, and then the other part is bringing down consumption. But just using all the lithium in the world.
Right. I was just going to point out the lithium. I think that I seeing a push now commercially for more and more lithium. People want, I want lithium batteries. I want lithium, and what you're gonna and I think one of the real problems here is that this is this amazing resource that we don't even begin to understand all the potential of. And we're just going to use it all up. Just going to use it all up, and then we're going to find out that it could do this unbelievable thing where it can fuel everything, and we use it all up for no fucking reason, for fucking batteries for the fucking phones and laptops. Go ahead.
Exactly, and use it up fast.
Yeah, as fast as possible.
Considering that 7 billion people have a cell phone, everyone on Earth has a goddamn cell phone, and it's replaced every 12 months. There you go. The lithium's going to be gone in 20 years. No more lithium on Earth, just filled in landfills. But another example.
But this is the point of using 1/10. I believe that we're using it as much as we can because we want, like you said, use it all up as fast as possible. Because I think that, but honestly, I think we could get the same results with using 1/10 of it. We just don't begin to understand the technology, but there's some there's some advantage to using it all as quickly as possible, and it's for rich people, and it's. It's just
Yeah,
what I'm
it's true,
saying
like-
is what I'm saying is that if we could, you're saying we're going to use it all up in 20 years. If we could do what I'm saying and use it at a tenth of 1/10 as much, and basically still get the same services, that
It would
20
buy
years
us-
that
it would
20
buy
years
us time.
turns into 200, if not a whole lot longer, because as we get down to this 10% number, we would be decreasing it even more because we'd learn how to use it better. It's just ridiculous what's happening right now. And again, the programming is all completely wrong. And it's almost as if the more you use, the more supreme, the more top of the fucking crop you are. The more you use, the more you consume. The higher up, the higher echelon you are. That's how you prove that you're superior on this planet. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of examples of that, right? First of all, people in the United States, I mean, not most, I'm not going to try, but a lot of people, if you go up and you ask them, have you ever been on an airplane? Normally, an American will tell you, I went on this trip or I went on that trip. They may have gone on a couple of airplane trips in their life. Most people in the world have never been on an airplane. Mm-hmm. It's only like 1 out of 10 people in the world who has been on an airplane, let alone been on an airplane more than one time at the airport. So there's an example of we have this privilege because of our level of consumption that almost makes us like gods, right? They can spend money and get on something and go halfway around a continent. Most people can't do that in the world. We're extraordinarily privileged. I'm beginning to think, the other example I was going to use is medicinal plants in the rainforest. We cut down the rainforest.
Yeah.
I saw a crazy number.
We don't really cut it down. We don't really cut it down. We don't really cut it down. We burn it. Go ahead.
That's right. But something like 10% of the rainforest in Brazil and was destroyed this year.
Yeah.
And they got a right-wing leader there who is really into growth and destroying the rainforest for profit. But that's happening really fast, right?
Right.
And there's medicines, plants that scientists and that herbalists could use that could be reproduced that would benefit us, and that we don't even know what the properties are. So we haven't even examined them, but we're never going to even know what they are because they'll be gone before we even have a chance to look at them because of deforestation.
Yeah.
So I have this opinion, and I try to be optimistic. As you know, I call myself a Marxist.
Deforestation basically boils down to, again, the rush for wealth. The rush for people to get more for themselves. It's not just deforestation. It's also there's a gold rush going on in the Amazon. Which poisons which poisons every fucking stream and river anywhere close to it. Go ahead.
So that leads me to two things. One, I've learned to appreciate the word misanthrope. All right, in the past, as a young adult, if somebody said, man, that's pretty fucking misanthropic, Chris, you're sounded a little off there, right? It's well, I would say, what is there to love about our species, right? We're practically an invasive species. Agriculture is only 10,000 years old, and we're threatening 60% of all life forms on the planet just in the last 10,000 years of human development, when we've jumped our numbers from 100 million people up to fucking 7.5 billion people, and introduced all of this technology which is not in balance with the rest of the world.
But it's not been how many, I don't know, you said 2,000 years or something. It's not been 2,000 really
12,000, about 10,000 years.
Really, humans have only really been a problem for the last 500, 600 years. Since
the Industrial Revolution.
Go ahead. Well, not before the Industrial Revolution. It's when the metal and there became a rush. There became a power thing that happened. Yeah.
So there's different ways to measure it. One place people measure it is when we stopped and started growing things, and that happened about 10 or 12,000 years ago. Prior to that, They found skeletons of human beings that are about 280, 300,000 year old skeletons of people,
Yeah.
anatomically correct people. So for 280,000, 290,000 years, we roamed like other animals. We used tools. We had fire. We used tools, so on and so forth. But we didn't stop. The moment we stopped, then we started growing things. When we started growing things, we started dividing things. And when we started dividing things, we started developing things like taxes and walls and tithing and so on and so forth. So like once you have surplus wealth, then it's a question of whose wealth is that? And that's kind of like the root. That's about 12,000 years old. But you're right. We got metals about 2,000, 3,000 years ago, like sharp swords, enabled us to kill a lot of people and manipulate people to take their stuff, like George Carlin would probably talk about like that. But, I mean, this is where we are. So I just almost feel like aliens came down to Earth about 12,000 years ago. They interbred with human beings, and their purpose was to destroy the planet. And they destroyed the planet. They did it.
Well,
they did a great job.
I think it's kind of like what you're saying. I think there became this, there was this time when we just kept moving and being part of the environment. And then people stopped moving and they started growing things, like you're saying. And I don't think there's anything wrong with growing things or finding roots, but I think that kind of separating yourself from the environment. I think we became separate from the earth. All of a sudden, we were that when we stopped, then we had to become the dominant force in that area where we stopped, so that we could show, no, this is our area. We make happen what we want to make happen in this area. You know what I mean? And it just became more and more and more controlled like that.
So the weirdest thing, Mike, is that Göbekli Tepe, that place in Turkey. It's like 12,000 years old, and within like 20 miles of that place is the oldest wheat that they've ever found, domesticated wheat.
Yeah.
And it happened at exactly the same time that they built this temple. And this temple, all of the buildings in the temple have pictures of wild boars and wild lions and wild bears and exotic fish and exotic birds and all of this wildlife. That's all that they filled around them on these pillars. And it's the very end of the Stone Age, before they moved into this era of agriculture. And they were kind of telling the world, like, this is what we lived in, but we're not living in this anymore, but this is representation of what that was.
Yeah.
And they made it on all of these pillars at Göbekli Tepe, which is called the oldest church or the oldest spiritual place in the world. It's our connection to that past, where we were connected to the forest and where we interacted with all of these animals.
That's in Turkey? Is that something that still exists?
Yes. Yes.
Do people?
It's in southeast Turkey. That's right.
Is there like a religion that claims that, or?
No, it predates religion. In fact, Mike, when it was built 12,000 years ago, it was used as a they think a religious place. They don't even really know the function of it, but basically it was pillars that are about 12 feet in the sky.
They had rock concerts there. Go ahead.
I mean, it was like an open rock concert stage. It definitely was a church, but they backfilled it for some reason. At some point in time in the last 12,000 years, some group of people took the time to fill rock all around this complex, so that for 11,000 years, or less, 8,000 years, people thought it was just a giant hill, and that it wasn't even a man-made construction, until they recognized that the hill wasn't made of natural material, and they removed the material and found like these 15 or 25 circles with these huge pillars in them. So somebody had intentionally hidden Göbekli Tepe from the world.
Yeah.
It's an interesting story, and there are a lot of YouTube videos about it, and I would really encourage people to look at it, because it is history, whether it's astro history or not, like Graham Hancock and all of that. I don't know, but it's interesting. But I'm not totally willing to throw that idea out, because we are so much different than the other primates. I'm not dissing the other primates. Like, I like gorillas and orangutans and chimpanzees, and I think they're the coolest animals, except for we are like a lot fucking different than they are anatomically. Like, a lot.
Well,
do you ever notice that?
don't focus on that. You know, I don't want to be different from them. You know what I mean? It's not any part of me that wants to be separate from them. I came here to be part of this, you know. So I don't focus on that at all. I hear what you're saying, and I understand the idea of seeding or some kind of thing like that. And to me, that's kind of the whole experiment is, you know, it's not, this isn't a random thing. This is why this whole, you know, like whether there's you know, higher consciousness or whatever, this, you know, I can't believe that all the perfection that happens on this planet happened randomly. You know, it's not the roll of a dice. It's a clear formula that was a roll of a dice, but it was, you know, a 1,000-mile long fucking mathematical equation that, you know, hopefully that came out just right. You know.
Yeah, I hope so, because otherwise we're not going to have a colony on Mars after we strip this planet of all its resources. They damn well better have figured it out.
Well, yeah, there's not going to be a colony on Mars. I mean, I just, you know, I just can't stand discussion or talk about Mars. Okay, once we get some people on the moon, then it makes sense to have a discussion about Mars. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know how. I can't stand these people that are like, you know, getting giant government contracts to do shit with Mars because, you know, we can't even get to the moon as far as I know.
It's military research and development that's being disguised as space spending, right? So if they had an aircraft that they could get up into the upper atmosphere, right, up into the upper atmosphere, do whatever they want, and then come back down to Earth without any problems and no big deals. Nobody would even notice it because it would be so ubiquitous and normal.
Yeah.
I mean, they would be psyched. So the more money they can spend towards that goal, if it includes funding crazy rocket guys and insane former Nazis who work at Area 51 for the Air Force, they don't care. Whatever as long as they can get what they want, which is military technology to control other people. And, you know, they'll make people like Elon Musk be a popular hero. I mean, they'll even put him on Joe Rogan Experience and have him smoke a joint just to make him seem like a normal guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it works. It works every time.
But back to what you were saying about the division between humans and animals and I mean, where were you taking that point? Just so I didn't mean to cut you off.
I absolutely agree with you that we have a connection with animals, right? I mean, I know the love that both you and Craig have for your dogs. I understand that, and I don't have that relationship with pets, but I understand it.
Well, I have a similar love for almost all of nature, bugs, trees, you know, everything.
I notice it myself, Mike, with crows and squirrels, and with the wildlife I encounter, deer, and you know, and hawks and eagles, and they always seem to appear when I want to see something. I don't eat the fuckers, like, you know, I'm an ethical vegetarian, so I don't eat them, and I often feel like a connection with them because of that, like, especially when I'm hiking by myself. It seems like that they're not afraid of me, so I can see animals real easily, you know, when I look for them. So I do have a very close connection with animals, but there's something about people, Mike, I think might be a little different.
Well, I just want to quickly point out that, again, I have come out here. You said squirrels and eagles, and you said another animal. What was it? Crows. Yes. I've come out here to the YouTube over the last many years, just specifically to tell stories about a squirrel or a crow or an eagle. So these things are all, you know, I have. You can go back and you can look, or those of you who've been around know. So I am very connected to all those things, and I have.
I am too.
Yeah, go ahead.
It breaks my heart that when I see like the impact of subdivisions, you know, like I lived in this town for 30 years off and on, and I'm telling you, I've seen the growth around my own little city where I live in Washington State. I've seen how it's gone from a city of like, say, 60,000 people to a metropolitan area of like 225,000 people. And what the impact that has had on the outlying areas of where I live. And, you know, places that were open spaces that are now subdivisions. And it just breaks my heart. Every time it happens, it breaks my heart. And I know it's a result of people consuming too much stuff and people like just breeding and having kids. And there's just there's just not enough space.
Well, yeah. And the infrastructure is not being updated, and it's not being designed to be part of the nature. You know what I mean? The infrastructure is meant to dominate the nature as opposed to being built as part of it. And so yeah, there's all this breeding going on, but instead of updating the housing from what we've had for the last 150 years, 200 years, instead of updating that to a 21st, 22nd century version that, it begins to, because there are cities, I think, that are doing this much better. Where they're incorporating nature into the and I think we do that pretty good in the Northwest, but it hasn't been updated. The idea of it hasn't been updated for over 100 years, and we have to we have to begin. This is what I keep talking about. Is it we have no 21st century infrastructure project. There isn't. That should be the bare minimum what's going on. But the truth is that we should be, at this point, having drug our asses for so long, we should be looking at a 22nd century infrastructure project. If we really want America to be great again, duh. And nobody is. It's not even on the radar, on the discussion. And this is what has to happen in order for us to even begin to save the tiniest bits of our natural environment. Because if we don't start now, it's gone. It's a goner for sure. If you don't treat it like the treasure, the gift, the diamonds, the jewels that they actually are, that it actually is, it's gone.
Instead of an Olympic train.
I can't, Chris, you're cutting out. You're cutting out pretty good there.
Let me step out, Mike. Let me step out. Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what I was going to say is, instead of an electric train from Vancouver all the way to San Diego with stops every 10 miles along the way, like 2 trains on an express train, and we're not going to get that. We're going to get everyone replacing their gas car with an electric car instead, I think. So that's the plan. And it's like they don't have a plan of like reducing consumption. Like they want to continue consuming, economic growth, and the saddest thing is that in China, which is their economy is surpassing ours as we speak, and within the next 10 years they will have surpassed us with consumption and with growth and production. They're moving in the same model. So humanity as a whole is kind of embraced this global capitalist model, which was created in England and the United States, and it is destroying the planet. So that I don't see that stopping. I mean, even a recession or a depression could cause people, an economic recession could cause people to reassess what they need to do. Like, holy shit, this isn't working, right? But I don't know. It's going to take a major fucking recession for people to stop and do something else. And I don't even see COVID making that happen.
Yeah, I mean, people love the consumption. They love more, And again, if it was done on this level where it made sense, the way things were purchased and produced, that not with planned obsolescence to where you're going to need a new phone in 2 years. You have to have a new phone every year or 2 years, but this phone's going to last you 5 years plus. And unless it gets fucked up real bad somehow, and we're gonna build stuff that's not gonna get fucked up. It's not, it's just such a disposable society right now, and how people can't see that as being incredibly short-sighted when they show freezing baby pandas on television every other fucking commercial. And if you don't save this panda,
maybe instead of like externalizing our needs, we could maybe like look inside of ourselves and find the answers inside of ourselves. And on that note, I have some good news, right?
Yeah.
From Stop the Drug War. Stop the Drug War, and this is from the 24th, Christmas Eve. It says, New Hampshire Supreme Court rules for religious freedom to use psychedelic mushrooms. The state Supreme Court on Tuesday overturned the conviction of a New Hampshire man for possession of psilocybin mushrooms after he argued his arrest conflicted with Native American-based religion that he practiced. Jeremy Mack, a card-carrying member of the Oratory of Mystical Sacraments branch of the Ocalawea Native American Church, was a minister in the church and said, quote, "We have long recognized that Part 1, Article 5 of the state constitution, there is a broad, general, universal statement and declaration of the, quote, natural and unalienable right of every individual, every human being in the state to make such religious profession, to entertain religious sentiments, or to belong to such religious persuasion as he chooses, and to worship God privately and publicly in the manner and season most agreeable to the dictates of his own conscience and reason," wrote the Supreme Court Justice James Bassett. So, apparently, people in New Hampshire can take psychoactive mushrooms for religious purposes today because the court ruled in their favor.
Or at least they have some defense now if they get busted with them in their pocket.
That's right. They have some standing, but I mean, if you're going to have these like freedom of religion amendments and freedom of religion, rules in your state constitution, well then, this is the right time to uphold them. Because clearly, like, if a person wants to do something because they're using a sacrament as part of convening with God and they're doing it in a constructive, kind of organized manner, I mean, that sounds like religion to me, as far as I can tell.
I see God in everything. If you believe, look, if you actually genuinely believe in some type of a creator, all-knowing creator God, then God is in everything, and this is God's plan, and for you to be, and that's my belief, and for you to want to fuck with that, then you don't really care about anybody's belief. You know what I mean? This is like, if that's what you choose, that there's this creator, all-knowing creator God, then this is the way God, kind of wants things, is so that I don't know if it's the development of the soul or whatever, but this is God's, as they say, God's plan, and for some law to be made against God's plan doesn't seem right to me. Now, does it?
Well, for me, it's a question of harms. And if the people are taking psychoactive mushrooms and they're not harming anybody, and they're just like entertaining themselves, however they want to do that, I don't know about invoking God necessarily, but
I only mentioned God because that's where you went with it. So.
Oh, it is. Yeah. It's where the judge was. You're absolutely right. But I'm just saying that, like, I respect their right to worship however they want to worship, and if they're not hurting other people, well then, that's protected speech, as far as I'm concerned.
If they're not hurting anyone, then why is it that you want to stop them from, why is it that you have a problem with them? They're not hurting anybody. Who the fuck are you to have a problem with somebody who's not hurting anybody? Let them live their life. That's one of those things that really bothers me. People should be allowed to live their lives however they choose, and they don't. Who are you to judge them for living their lives? And is that what you want them doing for you? Because you certainly don't. You don't even think of them enough to be able to let them decide for themselves, let alone you. So come on, give me a break.
I wish somebody would explain that to my friend who's been texting me about COVID-19. I swear to God. Like, he will not even tolerate a different perspective existing in the universe without trying to squash the speech.
Well, do you ever have a discussion with this? Do you ever have so you had discussion about the lies that led us into war in Iraq, right? With this person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this person knows that the government lies, knows that the media is in on it. Why all of a sudden are you buying into all this media, government hype? That as if they are in our best interest. But
because he's been convinced Donald Trump is evil.
Well, Donald Trump is a horrible piece of shit, but he's no more evil than fucking Barack Obama or Joe Biden. I'm pretty sure of that.
They actually killed people, like Libya. They murdered a lot of people too. So they're all evil scumbags. But somehow in my friend's mind, he is so scared of Donald Trump that he'll do anything, and I don't think there's anything that could convince him otherwise. Literally.
Well then you've literally bought into the programming 100%, because that's what the media has been trying to convince you of nonstop, is that Donald Trump is the biggest threat to this nation and the world and freedom, and it's not. It's the government, it's the Congress, it's not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a fucking figurehead at best,
Yeah, he owns hotels. He's a businessman. That's what he is at best. But at worst, he's kind of a shitty president, but that doesn't mean he's evil. I agree with you, Mike, and I tried every way to convince this person, and I have some rhetorical skills, and I failed. So I'm kind of like just gonna, it's that shut the fuck up attitude. It's like there's a community of people that do not want to hear debate. They want you to accept a narrative, and if you don't, well, then you're an oddity. You're a novelty. Right now you are, but as the police state kind of accelerates, I wonder how much, how mean they'll actually be to people. They're kind of mean spirited.
The media, who's they?
They being like the people who have bought a narrative, right? COVID-19 is very, very, very dangerous.
I think
Donald Trump is an evil, evil, evil person. These kind of narratives, and they're so afraid, and they're inculcated in a culture of fear to such a degree that they will not look at evidence that's contrary to what they believe. And it's problematic. It's a big fucking problem. If you want a democracy, you have to have an educated public. Everybody, George Washington, Thomas Paine, they all understood this from the beginning. If you don't have an educated population aware of, able to have discourse, you don't have democracy. And that's what I'm driving at. It's disturbing. I feel like I live in the Soviet Union right now, right? As we describe the Soviet Union, I'm sure it wasn't even as bad as it was described, but that's about what I feel like right now in America.
Yeah, well, I would highly recommend the movie V for Vendetta if you guys haven't watched it, because this is exactly what's going on. You can see the hype in the media. They literally, at one point the news readers in this TV show, in this movie V for Vendetta, the news readers look at each other and they say, "Hey, I don't write the news. I just report it." That's the writing the news is the government's job. We don't, or they say we don't make the news, we just report it. Making the news is the government's job. It's like they all are in on it. And this is the part that I just don't know how these people can live with themselves, and I don't think that they do. I don't think they live with themselves well. I think you can see in Don Lemon's face. I think you can see in Jack Taper. Fucking all these fucking news readers. I think you can see it in their faces that they're their egos couldn't be bigger, but at the same time there's this thing inside of them that's so ugly, and they hate it. I don't know.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So this only other thing I want to talk with you about, and before I go, is what occurred in Nashville. And I didn't really talk with you. I mean, I listened a little bit to the program earlier, but I didn't really hear discussion about that. So it appears like it was a 5G related activity. It was outside of an AT&T building. It was set off at a time when very few people were there, with warnings that were broadcast to the public. The person committed suicide when they committed the act. It is technically an act of domestic terrorism. What do you think about that? I mean, just overall, like your impression of how the media reacted to it.
Well, that was what the beginning of the show was all about. I was explaining that, some people seem to be kind of disappointed that I haven't reported on that, or I didn't report on it on Christmas Day. At 5:35 a.m., CNN started reporting on that report on Christmas Day. At 5:50. I saw, as I say, I scan the news constantly. When I see something, at 5:50, I saw the first report for me of that, and I went back immediately to find the 5:35 report. I listened to what they're saying. I decided, I don't hear anything worthy of fucking up everybody's Christmas here. Okay,
Yes.
and if on Christmas morning,
was downplayed.
yeah,
It was downplayed for like 3 days until today or yesterday when they found the name of the person, and then all of a sudden.
I don't think it was downplayed. I think it's been ratcheted from day one, from moment one. They wanted you afraid. They wanted to ruin your Christmas day. I chose not to post this because what I saw is basically a nothing burger. I see, you know, I again on Christmas Day at 5:50, I knew this was happening. 5:50 a.m. our time. I watched for the next 4 hours very closely to make sure there was not another explosion that happened. Okay,
Right.
because if there had been another explosion that happened, then we have an event, something's happening, and everybody needs to know about it. This is worthy of interrupting your Christmas day now.
Okay.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Now, at 2 p.m., Craig got out of bed on Christmas Day, and he said, "What the fuck is happening in Nashville?" And I said, "Oh, it looks like somebody blew up a meth lab in the middle of downtown." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he didn't, and he could care less about it at that point, moving on the rest of the day. You know, because I had basically broke it down to, it's a nothing burger. Don't worry about it. You know.
Right. Well, I also I mean, I got some details out of it, right? That I heard like the first day, and then I also heard a few days later.
Right. No, I mean, we could see. You could see that it was a 5G thing from the very really from about 9 a.m. the first morning, like I was saying. By the time I was done, it was pretty obvious.
It was targeted.
Yeah.
Targeted infrastructure.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was really obvious, and also his the lone wolf thing. That's always a thing that they emphasize. Kind of as a lone wolf thing. I don't know.
Well, also one of the things I pointed out earlier is that they're making a big deal about the fact that he built his own fence around his home. He built his own fence with his own hands. And by the way, my neighbor is is building a fence around his home as we speak. You know, and I don't think I'm too worried about him. And also, they're trying to make.
You should call the FBI, Mike.
Yeah, he's Asian. He's Asian. He just moved in the last couple of years. So I don't know about him.
Suspicious?
Yeah.
Even more suspicious.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So Direct Action was a terrorist group in Canada that destroyed property in the early 1980s. Mm-hmm. And they were an underground cell, and in fact, they weren't uncovered for like 5 years. And they blew up like a building in Toronto that made triggers for like nuclear cruise missiles for NATO.
Wow,
and
awesome.
They destroyed the entire,
That's fucking awesome.
They destroyed the entire front of the office building, and they didn't get caught for a while.
Where are those guys when you need them, huh?
Well, they went to jail.
Yeah.
But fortunately, they were in Canada, so they weren't executed. That tactic is something that's always been in the back of my mind. The book is called Direct Action by Ann Hansen, and in the coverage, the very first day of the Nashville incident, I remember them saying that the person released a recording. There was a recording from the truck or the RV that said, this truck, this RV is blowing up in 15 minutes. And then they said a Petula Clark song, Downtown.
Yeah. When
you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always, that song, right?
Yeah.
Was playing from the RV.
Right.
But he warned people to get away from the RV. And apparently,
and it sounds like the cops were notified too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, because the cops were on the scene. Cops were on the scene well before anything exploded.
Mm-hmm. And Direct Action did that in 1982 in Toronto, and the IRA also did it in England and Ireland during the Troubles when they blew up bombs. They would frequently use audio devices to let people know there was a bomb in the area.
Yeah.
So he obviously honed his tactics. It wasn't like he just thought this up last week and did it. I mean, he was aware of what he was doing and how he was doing it.
Yeah.
Which is very fascinating to me. And he also did not kill anybody because of the time he set it off and how he set it off.
Right.
Which is also interesting. So there's this thing where, like, I don't know why he killed himself. I don't know why he suicided himself. It might have a depression. Who knows? But I wouldn't be surprised, Mike, if we saw some more tactics along those lines, because it's reached a point where Jeff Bezos can make $180 billion, and 12 million Americans are going to be evicted next month because they can't afford their back rent, right? So it's reaching a point where the difference between the super rich and the poor is so fucking extreme. You can expect more extreme action as a consequence. That was what I observed from this weekend, even though I thought it was kind of muffled until like yesterday, a little bit.
It's been, I mean, it's definitely been top of the news. I honestly thought it was almost rounding out the COVID news a little bit. I was kind of surprised by it.
I need to watch more TV, maybe.
No, you absolutely do not. I mean, unless it's for some kind of entertainment. Other than that,
of course,
I would not recommend it.
I think I'm going to go through my film files tonight, Mike, and pull up that V for Vendetta movie. I've watched it about 4 or 5 times, but I could watch it again. And
when was the last time? When was the last time?
It would have been before COVID. It was probably 6 months before COVID. I watched it last.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched it since the crises, and I know how it relates to the story, so it will make it more interesting. I'll do that. But I appreciate your program, and I'm really glad that you made time to come on the air tonight. I really think it's disgusting that the Republican senators are going to block the $2,000 stimulus to the people, considering the amount of money that they gave away last Friday when they signed the second stimulus bill, which gave billions and billions and billions of dollars to all kinds of different special interest in that kind of pork bill that was passed, that they would cry about giving the masses an extra like $1,400 when many of them are living in abject poverty right now. And those Republican senators, if you're a Republican listening to Mox's show right now, you should call Rob Portman from Wisconsin. You should call Jeff Toomey from Pennsylvania. You should call those Republican senators and tell them they will not be reelected in 2022 if they do not sign that $2,000 bill that President Trump wants them to sign. They're cowards.
Yeah, well, I think, that money's going to come around. Look, there's going to be immediately following the transition of the White House. I believe there'll be another COVID relief package, and it will be more money for the people. So
that is tied maybe to vaccines or something.
It's gonna be tied to a lot of fucking bullshit for sure.
Only time will tell as the sands fall through the hourglass. Okay, hey, thanks so much, Mike. I really love your show, and I will look forward to talking to you another night. And thanks for...
It's always nice to hear from you, Chris. Stay cool, bro.
Take care. Peace.
Bye. And that's our buddy Chris from Olympia. Always nice. He's a fountain of resources, and it's, it was nice of him to share a Christmas experience with us. And that's part of the problem of what's happening now is that there is this extreme tension. Chris says that he invited this person over to his home that he's known forever, and then the person lectures him about him not taking COVID seriously. Well, if you're so fucking serious, why don't you just stay quarantined in your fucking home? So you're not, spreading whatever, potentially spreading whatever. Why the fuck if you're so serious about the COVID, if it's so fucking serious, why are you leaving just so you can so you don't have to spend Christmas alone? Give me a break. How many people have to spend Christmas alone? Specifically because the COVID is real. So, it's too bad that, people, again, it's not that the COVID is not real. I had never said that. I said, just don't buy into the hyped fear. That's what they want more than everything else, is for you to buy into the hyped fear. They want you as afraid as possible. What do they want you afraid of? They want you afraid of your neighbor who's building their own fence. They want you afraid of the people who have an RV parked in their front yard. They want you afraid of everyone who's wearing a mask, because the reason they're wearing a mask is because they could be potentially sick and they could infect you with a deadly disease. They want you afraid of absolutely everyone. That's what they want most of all. And as I've said from day one, way before we ever talked about COVID, or anybody ever talked about COVID. I said, don't buy into the fear. It's what it's always been about on this channel. Hello, caller.
Yeah, what's up?
How's it going, man?
Charles Mealy from Little Rock, Arkansas. From the home of the righteous Bill Clinton. I never had sex with that woman.
Right
I
on.
can't deny it. Now, hey, I want to talk about something serious.
Oh, good.
How the American people got gypped
By,
and played like the second fiddle about this stimulus money.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. We got played, man.
Go ahead.
Now, check this out. They say, okay, how come they didn't give us this money back between March and the summertime? Because they were trying to get elected, you fucking idiots. That's why. Once they got elected, okay, now they can do like Pontius Pilate, you know, like the Roman emperor, kiss the ring. I can do whatever I want now. I've been reelected, and that's what I'm going to give you, slaves, a pittance.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fucked up, man. We've been played.
And
No, wait a minute.
we've been played for a long time. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, we've been played for a long time in a lot of different ways. And from the beginning, I've been talking about this. You know, it's almost as if just being human is illegal. You know, just our basic nature, just to be the human being that we're meant to be. You know, you can't just be human. You have to be stand up straight and have the right haircut and all this other shit. You know.
Well, you know, hey, man. I mean, you understand the frustration. I wouldn't be so mad about $600 if I didn't find out there was pork going to other countries. Now I'm pissed off, see? Yeah, figure that one out.
Well, that's always been the way this government has operated, and it's disgusting, and there's absolutely zero reason that we should be, you know, sending Israel fucking $40 billion, you know?
Don't you get me started about Israel, man.
Yeah.
That's my favorite whooping boy.
So I'm just saying, you know, I mean, Israel's like the 10th strongest economy in the world. They don't need our $40 billion. And what the fuck, are we buying their loyalty or something? Fuck that. We don't need to buy anybody's. I don't want to buy anybody's loyalty. You don't want to fucking be loyal. You don't want to be part of what the United States has going on. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. You know, this is so sad, man. But, you know, look here. Do you realize how many people were in the climate march on D.C.?
How many?
The whole world was there, marching for climate change.
Everybody. Go ahead.
Right. All because of that mentally retarded 15-year-old girl. Now check this out. If they can get out there in the street for climate change, how come they can't get out there in the street for term limits? And I mean mandatory. And we can put sexual offenders on a sexual database for the rest of their fucking lives. We should do the same with congressmen or retired congressmen that try to run for office somewhere else. Hell no. Your ass go on a database, you're done, one strike and you're out.
Well,
that's it.
That should be how it is with cops for sure. I mean, cops, you know, they fuck somebody's life and then they just go to some other state and fuck somebody's life there, you know. So there should be a predator database with cops like that. When it comes to politicians should be made examples of. Meaning we should hold them to a higher standard, as we like to say that we do, people in positions of power, which we don't do, but should be done. People in positions of power, when they abuse that power and they do things that they knowing are illegal just to further their own power and wealth, those people should be made examples of. They should be, you know, whatever the fucking most extreme part of the law is, boom, that's what should happen to a politician every single time. So that the next politician who comes in behind them, you know, there was an example made. So don't make the same fucking mistake, okay? You got it, pal? We're watching you. You know, and that's how it should be. You know, governments should be afraid of their people, not, you know, people being afraid of their governments. It shouldn't be that way. You hear me?
Let me get back with you in about 20 years on that one.
Yeah.
20. Because right now, the American people ain't feeling it, man.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
I think the American people are on the edge of having had enough of the bullshit. We deserve better than this.
I want to see it.
Well,
I don't see them doing nothing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the
I don't know. You say I don't see him doing nothing. We watched fucking riots in the streets night after night all fucking summer long. So you go ahead and tell me you don't see him doing nothing, but I don't think that's necessarily true.
All right, check this out. You know what happened in Beirut?
I don't. When in Beirut? When?
When the bomb went off.
The most recent one.
Yeah.
Okay, not the one that hit the army base or whatever.
No, the so-called grain explosion, which is probably a micro-nuke, would dial back the yield. Look here, the people wouldn't get no assistance. The government didn't want to do shit.
Yeah.
And guess what they did? They took to the bricks. And within less than 2 weeks, they brought down the government using nothing but they fists.
Right. And that's what's going to happen. The people they're reaching their limit, dude. Again, as you say, you want to say I don't see anything happening, but you know that that's not true. You know that like I said, all summer long, night after night, we saw riots in the street back and forth across this country. So, the people are reaching this boiling point, and if we don't get something better, if something better doesn't begin to happen, like seriously, I think they're not going to take much more.
Well, I don't think the American people got no balls.
Well,
did you get a video I sent you?
I'm not sure. What was it of?
I'm trying to get people to step on the Chinese flag in my city of Little Rock.
Right.
Only one person did it, and then came back, running back to me 20 minutes later. Erase that video. What a gutless coward.
Well, how about why not just the American flag?
Well, I didn't want to push it too far, if you know what I mean.
Why not the Israeli flag?
Oh, again, I didn't want to push it too far.
See, I would love to start every single one of my videos with an Israeli flag burning, but I think that that might be pushing it too far. But because I'm not trying to alienate or start that particular war, and make that the center of everything. But it seems like I don't understand why you picked the Chinese flag.
Well, okay, here's the deal, right? Well, I couldn't afford a flag. I went down to Kinko's and ran some copies off with some paper. Okay, check this out, right? The city of Little Rock, they already got me on their little number. They already came here 2 years ago and took a computer from me that belonged to the VA hospital. Even though I had porn on it, they weren't interested in the porn. What they were interested in was my political strategies that I had drawn up that I was using to run against scumbag Republican French Hill. Now, they let me have on to this laptop for a whole year. And after the election was over, then they come bust me. But in the meantime, the laptop had a GPS system in it. It had screen capture. So I brought it from a guy. He said he didn't want it no more. The VA gave it to him, which was a lie.
Yeah.
So while I'm saying, okay, all right, I'll take it. And so while I'm doing all this shit, running around, running for Congress, and watching porn, they didn't bust me right away. So I said, how come? I said, hey, I'm a black man. They don't need to wait.
Yeah.
But after November, the election was over with, oh yeah, here comes the Little Rock Police Department with a warrant. So I'm thinking to myself, why did they wait so long? And once we got in the court, I found out why. They said they was monitoring everything I did, every chief stroke.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well,
and again, I tell my lawyer, why did they wait so long?
I think everybody should expect that these days. I mean, Craig was something in the relief bill. There's something about making downloading pirating movies is a felony or something, making it like a really big prosecutable offense, and Craig was getting all upset about that, and I was like, dude, it's I mean. This is what they do. They've been following everything that we do forever. I mean, I don't. You should absolutely, if you are doing anything on the internet, unless you're very, very good at security and keeping your tracks hidden, you should expect that they're watching. They're not so much watching it as logging it somewhere. Everything that you do on the internet, everything that you do on your computer, it doesn't even have to be with the internet. Everything you do on your phone, and a whole lot of other things too. Like Alex Jones was warning us 20 years ago that the dishwashers have fucking microphones in them, and they're listening, and cameras, and they're listening and watching. And now they're using, they're advertising on television. That you look, there's a little button and it has a microphone on it on your remote control. So Comcast is listening to absolutely everything that you're fucking saying, but not unless you push the button. So it's just become this like accepted way, and you should just really, really expect everything that you're doing on the internet or on a computer or on a phone to just being basically stored and logged somewhere. Every single keystroke, like you're saying.
Well, I'm just sad that this $600 they're going to give us got pork in it, and the pork is not benefiting us.
I'm really sad about everything that has to do with Congress. Everything. So I just think we can do so much better, and it would be really nice if like you're saying, instead of worrying about all these special project pork things, that we actually were laser focused on worrying about the American people and how we can help them. Just one fucking time, that would feel really good, and maybe people could think a little bit higher of Congress, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Well, before I go, I just want to say one thing.
Yeah.
Everybody, listen up close. They got what they wanted from me. Like a 40-year-old man trying to trick a 16-year-old high school girl to give it up.
Okay.
Well, they got what they wanted now. And they'll put their pants back on, going out the door, while we are feeling like that girl. We're ashamed that we gave up our virginity. We've been used. Get used to it, America. Wait till 2020 blows up in the air. Joe Biden is not your savior, and neither that tranny VP Kamala Harris. Yeah, I said it. That's what she is. Matter of fact, there's a video about that, and I kind of question her gender. But I'm not hating on that. You see, these people were MK Ultra at a young age to be what the elites want them to be. Okay? But we got a problem. And we got to fix this runaway train, man.
Yeah.
Or somebody else is going to fix it for us.
Right. That's
I'm out.
I agree. Thanks a bunch for calling. It's good to hear from you. Right. And again, that's what I'm saying too, is that we have to be the ones, the American people have to be the ones to take down the American government, and not through not necessarily through some election, unless we can actually all come together and say no more Democrats, no more Republicans. Then we might have a hope in hell of taking back our government. But otherwise, it's going to probably have to be through some kind of a sit-down strike. We say no, 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 no. No, this is the way it is from here moving forward. But we have to do that because the American government, the war machine that it is, the war profiteering machine that it is out of control around the world, spreading poison and fear and hate. And we deserve better. All the people of the world deserve better, and the American people deserve better. And if we don't reel that in, if the American people don't do it, some other entity will have to, because you can't just allow somebody to go around smashing things. It's like, if you were to be somewhere and you saw some asshole beating people up, You know, maybe you could just sit there and let that asshole beat people up. I could not. I would have to do something. If I was there when they were on, you know, squashing on George Floyd's neck, I wouldn't have been able to just film. I would have had to take that cell phone and throw it right at that cop's head in order to try and do something, because wrong's being committed, and you have the ability to stand up against wrong. You have that ability. What's up, caller?
Nothing, man. What are you doing? Never mind. I know what you're doing.
Have you been rubbing your feet in oil again?
No, when Chris from Olympus, when Chris from Olympus got on, I rode all the way down. I figured he'd talk for an hour, so I went all the way down to Ventura, sent my honey some money on the MoneyGram, came back, just got back, and I don't know if you've had a second caller since then, or was he on the whole time?
Oh, no, I've just been talking to Chris the whole time.
Oh, fuck. Good. I missed the whole fucking communist thing. How's the communist perspective going? What do you say?
You know, he's worried about the future of the species.
But not the country.
Mm-hmm. The country's, you know, what is there? I mean, what is there to worry about the future of the country? Are you somehow threatened for the future of this country?
Yeah. I'm watching wheels go round and round, and I think we are in interesting times, very threatening times to the underclass. See, now, first of all, Chris, if you're listening, the Communist Manifesto is probably full of truth, but and me and millions of other people care about the working class and the underclass and poverty and all of the social justice issues. We all care about that stuff, but except for maybe Cuba and in part Venezuela, I can't see where socialism has ever worked, especially not in Russia, because it's in the nature of some men, but it's in the nature of men to pathological personalities gravitate towards positions of power, like Stalin, starving millions of people in the Ukraine, and archipelago gulag, and massive injustice, and slaughtering, I don't know, over the years, 60 million people. If that's communism / socialism, I don't want it. Now you look at America, which has this other fake label called capitalism, right, or democracy. Pathological personalities, obviously, to anyone who has eyes in their head, have gotten into our system since its very inception, since 1776, and tried to grab and manipulate power and offer wealth, money, and power. So no matter what system you're living under, there's always going to be pathological
right, but see, if you have a proper system, and you have these people who have this, they go into Congress, and they do everything they can to accumulate wealth, and even to the point of committing crimes, then you hold those people accountable, and you don't give them some kind of a slap on the wrist. You make examples of them so that the people who come behind them know this is an unacceptable thing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And we didn't do that when they blew our president's head off in November of 1963 on film.
Or any other time. It hasn't been done ever. It's just not
and we
done.
didn't do that when they blew up the buildings in New York. It's like Obama says, well, we're looking forward now. And nobody wants to expose the crime. And they didn't do that when the Supreme Court just poo-pooed Trump's attempt to get the election fraud into the Supreme Court, and apparently Judge Roberts is compromised in some way, and he was heard screaming in his chambers, if we do this, you'll have riots in the street. Well, that's not what a Supreme Court justice is supposed to be thinking about. Supreme Court justice is supposed to be thinking about the law, and was there fraud in the election? And everybody knows it, but few people will want to stand up and do something about it. And I see Trump right now with all his faults, which are manifold and multitude, as a heroic figure in American history. And yeah, I'm worried about my country, and I see that as goes America.
But more worried than after 9/11, or after you became aware of how fucked up the situation with 9/11 is, or more worried than after being lied into war in Iraq? You're more worried about the country now than then?
Absolutely.
Huh.
And you know why? It's really easy why. COVID-19. The pharmaceutical tyranny that has been going on that shut down the entire world economy. You can have wars and wars and wars, and 97% of the planet is prospering, and the economies go on, and everything is cool and hunky-dory. But now the entire planet is shut down. This is worse than any war. This is worse than World War II. And if they can do this with a fake pandemic to make everybody slaves and wear masks and stay in your house, and police are going to arrest you if you don't do this and if you don't do that, and the Constitution doesn't matter because there's an invisible virus going on, and they abscond with scientific information, and you're not even allowed to question the fake narrative about COVID-19, and you just got to do what you're told. We're done. We're toast. America is toast if we don't expose this. It's far worse than 9/11. It's far worse than the Iraq War. It's far worse than World War II. It's who said World War III was going to be played out on a battlefield with tanks and soldiers and bombs and planes? We're in World War III right now, and it's an information war. Everybody's on the internet. That's where you get your information from. And you've got the technocrats in what they call Silicon Valley, but they're all over the place, actually. And you can't post this and you can't post that, and we get to block Trump's tweet, and this is not approved information, and fact checkers have said this, and fact checkers have said that. Well, that's just another form of tyranny. It's information tyranny. You guys aren't allowed to know the truth. You aren't allowed to see the truth. You aren't allowed to speak the truth. Stay in your homes. The virus is far worse than 15 million homeless people. Is far worse than shutting down 50% of small businesses. Is far worse than anything. It's far worse than negating the Constitution, and that's where we're in. We're in World War III, and Trump, it's my estimation, and I'm going to overstate this, I don't actually believe it, but in my estimation, he's the most unlikely hero, because despite all his dumb fuckery and his inability to express himself without a teleprompter, he is standing up against the China virus. It is a China virus. The CCP owns Silicon Valley. They own some politicians. They own the media. They're all over the American political spectrum. Joe Biden is bought off and compromised and a traitor to his country. Nancy Pelosi, everybody is, they're all in on it. And this is World War III. Yes,
Right, but you say they're all in on it, but then you just name Democrats.
No, you got a whole bunch of Republicans that are in on it.
Right, but you just name Democrats. You just go, you know what I'm saying? It's as you say they're all in on it, but then you just it's as if you're only blaming one side.
No, I don't get me wrong. I'm blaming both sides. There's lots of those Republicans that are not standing up right now, but it was the Democrats that spent the last 4 years on a fake investigation of Russia. And tried to impeach the president, was unsuccessful. If you notice the trends in media, you will notice that it is the liberal narrative being promoted and the conservative narrative being squished. And no, you can't say that, and you're all bully boys, and you're proud boys, and you're crackers, and you're the most dangerous people on earth because you believe that the United States is a republic, and we should go back to the Constitution. We should enforce the Constitution. Yes, there was and you're not allowed to say it was a stolen election because you're just a Trumper. You're a MAGA guy. I'm tempted to go out and buy a fucking MAGA hat. That's how fucking I don't know what to call it. That's how far it's gone. You would never catch me waving a Trump sign or wearing a MAGA hat. Never. But in this circumstance, I'm going to have to side with the people that are more awake, and that is, unfortunately, the Trumpsters. Yeah.
Well, you know the only reason that is because because Trump is acting like he's against the government. Okay, and the people that are acting against Trump are acting as if they're standing with the government. But the truth is that I don't think the people that are supporting that necessarily helped to push Biden into the White House or is helping to push Biden into the White House, I don't think necessarily that they all support Biden. They just are tired the fuck of Trump.
Well, I would bet you that. I don't know, a very high percentage, 80, 90% of the Ron Paul supporters, the original, independent type thinkers, the constitutionalists, what do you call the Ron Paul deal where they're all, those, I bet you they all support Trump to a very large percentage. And so in this particular respect, Trump is closer to the Ron Paul narrative, which I agree with it. Libertarian, what's libertarian? Personal liberty, right? And who is Trump? He's bought off by the Israelis. I won't say the J word, okay, but he's bought off by the Israelis and the Jewish money in New York. That's how he built his empire, was getting loans from Jewish banks. So he's bought off there. But when every now and then some dumb fuck is going to step up in history with wooden teeth and just say no more. And this is, in a way, in a very flawed way, this is what Trump is doing. He's the only guy that wants to open up the country. He's already caught COVID. He's recovered. He's probably halfway savvy about the statistics. And this whole thing, this whole pandemic is based on science. And if you can't expose the false science, you can't open the country up. If you can't expose the AMA, the FDA, the Center for Disease Control, the World Health Organization, Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, all those people, Big Pharma, one of the largest, maybe the largest lobby in Washington, who've over the decades has taken over Washington, and this whole thing was planned out, Event 201, and many more. If you can't expose them, you can't open up the country. It's a fake pandemic. The numbers are wrong. The tests are wrong. I want to open up my little small business. I want to have a hot dog stand. You can't do it because of COVID-19. And besides, you need a $14,000 permit to sell hot dogs in America. We're a free country. God bless America. Fuck that false narrative. Sorry to be yelling, but that's the number one issue. I think we're in World War III right now, but it's not bombs and planes and buildings collapsing, being exploded. It's information.
Well, if what you're saying, if it is information, then we have been in World War III for quite some time before COVID.
Yeah, well, David Icke calls it the totalitarian tiptoe, where they take this away from you, and then 5 years later they take that away from you, and then 10 years later they take that away from you, and here we are 20 years from 9/11, and they have, and we're everything's shut down. The entire planet's shut down. People are starving. People are beating up their kids. Kids are getting traumatized for life from the psychic injuries of social tyranny, social oppression. I don't want to wear a mask, Mommy. It's like, well, you have to wear a mask, otherwise they'll come and get us. People are getting kicked out of their homes. This whole time that I've known you, this whole 1 year, it's been about a year now that I've known you, almost 11 months maybe. I've been taking care of 10 people in the Philippines who have been squished and traumatized and impoverished by the lockdown in that country, and I get all the news from the Philippines. And
why do they love their dictator so much?
Because he's not. Well, because in his own way, he's the only solution to their particular problem. That's a country that's been taken over by Spain, Japan, the United States, and they're dealing with China, but now they're allied with China. So that there are subjugated people. If you go to the Philippines, you see Chinese-looking people, you see Italian and German-looking people, you see Islanders, Morenos, you see Japanese blood. It's like everybody goes to the Philippines to fuck the women, and then all the babies are all mixed blood, and it's been going on for centuries. So that, of course, if you understand systems theory, you're going to understand that a dictator, a strongman like their president, is going to come in and say, no more, we're a sovereign country, fuck Obama. You remember when he called Obama's mother a whore, at some international meeting, and Obama didn't go the next day to that meeting. Now, there's, of course he's not a perfect leader, and of course he really fucked up on the drug enforcement program. It's not okay to shoot drug addicts. That's not the way you roll on a sane planet. But he's trying. Trump and the Philippine leader Duterte are kind of similar. They're both strong men, and they're both really in favor of the population. They feel a responsibility towards the population of their planet. Of course, Trump was born with a golden spoon in his mouth, and Duterte was a police captain and a mayor, and they got revolutions in the Philippines. That's why they need a strong man, and they had decades of corrupt leaders, even more corrupt than Nancy Pelosi or any politician, American politician you want to speak about. So that's why. But the whole point is the planet is suffering because of corruption and people obeying unjust laws and false information. I went to down the street to the 7-Eleven, and the guy gave me a hard time again because I wasn't wearing a mask. And I'm just saying no in my life to everything that is not true. And the COVID-19 pandemic is not true. It doesn't have the numbers to be a pandemic. The numbers are corrupted. You can't say that on any TV station. I can say it right here, right now. You're not going to ban me for saying that. Hi, babe. I'm talking to my girl. B-A-B-E. Okay. But people need to stand up. What are we standing up for? Our personal liberties and everything guaranteed to us in the Constitution. Our form of capitalism is an entirely corrupt form of capitalism where it feeds the rich and starves the poor. So if this actual $2,000 payment comes through, I'll be amazed. Now, in the omnibus bill, I heard, I don't know for sure, I try to be really specific about what I know for sure and what I don't know for sure. But I think Trump has the power to veto line items in that omnibus. He passed it to keep the eviction prevention measures going, and he passed it to get people unemployment. But as far as a lot of those things, the entire measure is not passed. I don't think that's the way an omnibus bill works. Maybe Wilco knows more than me, or Chris knows more than me, or Craig knows more than me on that, or somebody does. But I think he still has the power to veto line items in the omnibus bill. And as far as the $2,000 check goes, I could use it. Man, I've been taking care of 10 people, keeping them alive with rice and electricity for fucking a year. And that's why I can't give you money, because I'm dirt fucking poor. But, you know, I'm sick of the corruption, and I'm not going to couch my words. I'm not going to speak softly to people.
Hey,
That's
look,
not the way.
yeah, look, I get it. I have made very clear I'm no fan of Donald Trump, but I appreciate somebody kind of standing up against the fucking bullshit election results. I'm glad to see somebody who wants to fight for every vote. Because that's what we should have as a politician. Somebody's like, God damn it, we're gonna make sure this got done right. No game, and I'm so happy to see the defense authorization bill fucking vetoed. I've been waiting forever to see it. Not that it's going to make any difference, but I've been waiting for somebody to say, no, this is not our priority, and we got to get this. This is the kind of thing that should be done absolutely right. So get it fucking right. And
well, it's hard for me to dive into 5,000 pages that was delivered to Congress 2 hours before they're supposed to vote on it. Nobody could do that. So I don't know what's in the damn bill. I don't know how much the defense budget was, and I don't even know if Trump vetoed it. Is that what you're telling me? He vetoed it?
Yeah.
Just for defense. And
Yeah.
how much was it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that I'm no fan of Trump, but I've been waiting for somebody to act like this kind of a president to act. It's unfortunate that he waits until he's on his way out the door to do this. These are the kind of things that he could have done when he first came into office. He said, no, there's a new sheriff in town and we're doing things a different way. And instead he just bowed down to Israel and I don't know, just started spending all the money he could fucking as far as the military industrial complex goes. Oh, I'm gonna form a new fucking space force that we already fucking have.
Yeah, well, he's people have called him a genius, and he's always looks like he's losing, and then he pulls a rabbit out of a hat. I don't know if that's true.
I'm not calling him a genius. I'm just saying I'm glad to see somebody in my lifetime veto a fucking defense bill, because I haven't seen that happen in the last 20 plus years. And it seems like that's the kind of thing that there should be.
What just happened?
Yeah.
Besides vetoing the defense bill, he got the 5,000 pages. Of course, he doesn't even have the capacity to go through it. It said $600 for people that have had no work and no relief for 10, 11 months. And he said, fuck no, I want $2,000. And he stonewalled that. And now all the Democrats are saying, oh, yeah, we've been saying $2,000 all along, and they're all hopping on the $2,000 thing. And they're taking credit for it, but unfortunately, the truth is that Pelosi and Schumer don't care about the American people, and they're happy to let everybody starve because they got $14,000 refrigerators loaded with designer ice cream. And they don't care about you. And there has to be a revolution in the United States and in the world. You got people standing up in England and France.
But you can't possibly think that Donald Trump is the right person to lead the revolution.
It's what we got. I hate to sound like Jon Snow, but it's what we got.
Again, there's people who genuinely believe in freedom and who have been consistent on this. It's not like there's lots of people out there who actually believe in freedom, and it's not just a gimmick in order for them to fucking get support.
Yeah. You've been standing up for 20 plus years. And I've been standing up my whole life.
It's the only way this whole thing works. Is it if you actually want this species to evolve to its ultimate place? The only way that it evolves to its ultimate place is if people are allowed to be who the people are. If you fucking say no, you have to be like this, then the species doesn't evolve correctly.
Yeah, well, in the course of human events, if you look at history, it's not the complacent little sheep that lower their heads and, tuck their tail between their legs and say, yes, master, yes, master. Those aren't the ones that change the world for the better. It's the ones that stand up and flip the bird to the fucking powers that be. Those are the ones that change history. The designers of the Constitution basically designed into the Constitution the premise that, there's probably going to have to be a revolution every 20 or 50 years in order to keep this living document alive.
I know that they expected a revolution long before now. A second one. Go ahead.
But we're so complacent and mind-controlled and conditioned that we think it's some anathema. It's heresy to walk into a 7-Eleven with no mask on because you're endangering everyone's life. You'll never get it. Get your vaccine. It's like, fuck you. I know the science. I know the science.
It's this
You don't get to talk to me about shit because you're a fucking moron. I won't.
They're misinformed, right? They're misinformed. It's not because somehow they are trying to fucking be dickholes or, stupid. It's because they've been purposely misinformed, okay? From people that call themselves authorities, all right? So you have to take that into account. And then, because if we can't get beyond this us and them thing, then they actually win. And they is Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi because they're on the same fucking goddamn team and have been their entire lives, and you fucking well know it.
Well, no matter whether people come from the left or the right, I can give the born-again Christian people all the slack they need. If they want to pray to Jesus, cool. The Buddhists, I see less integrity in the New Age, and I'm in the most New Age city on earth right now. I lived here most of my adult life. These people abscond with their they have denied that any responsibility to be involved in personal affairs. They think chanting and praying and doing yoga is going to change the world. At least the Christians get involved in political affairs because staying informed and getting involved in political affairs is the only way you're ever going to change your country. So that people with less information are going to have all the opinions, and they're going to spew out their opinions as if it's facts, but they got no facts. Opinions are not facts, and I try to only speak facts. I know Trump's a fucked up guy, and I know, but he's not as corrupt as Pelosi or Schumer or Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, for that matter. So, what can you do? Are we supposed to throw our hands up and say, there's nothing I can do, I'm too small? No, you didn't do that, Michael. You did what you could do your whole life.
It's not that one is more corrupt than the other. It's that they're not on different teams. They're all on the same team, and they're all against us, and the world is fucked up because that's the way they want it.
Yeah, well, I'm obviously not happy with my country being taken over by the New World Order. And it's already here. It's not like something that's on the horizon that's coming our way. The New World Order is here. In case you guys didn't notice, you're locked in your houses, you have to wear masks, and you have no fucking jobs, most of you. And they don't give a fuck about you. They gave you, $1,200 to some people, not everybody.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that phrase a lot, by the way, in the mainstream media right now. Not so much, like the CNN, Fox, and stuff like that, but the outlying mainstream media. I'm hearing the words "New World Order" a lot, so you guys know.
Yeah, and you can also call it the CCP. You can also call it the WHO, the World Health Organization. They're all part of this global takeover. It's a confluence of events and forces. Media, the media's bought off, and it's been bought off since the late 50s. Every paper, every TV station, and now they're all over the internet. Big tech, media, big tech is part of the media, and the political class, which is Congress, the Senate, all your governors that are telling you can't open your barbecue store, you can't, your hairdressers can't work, restaurants gotta set up tents outside because you can't, because you can have them inside a tent, but you can't have them inside a room. What a bunch of bullshit. New York is a ghetto. New York is a fucking ghetto. Cuomo killed thousands of elderly people, and these people, these dumbed down, low IQ people, actually are the ones telling you what to do. So stand up. You know, if you don't know the facts about a certain body of information, whether it's medical or political or history, then learn from somebody who does. And knowledge is power, and we are definitely in World War III. And I care about people. That's the only thing I care about is people. You know, I basically sacrificed my life for other fucking people. A lot of times you get screwed doing that, but I haven't stopped. So, yeah, I think my country's in trouble. And I think anybody who doesn't realize their country is in trouble is like fucking sleepwalking on planet Earth during the apocalypse. It's like, everything's okay. It's like, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. It's like the Wizard of Oz. The Emperor is...
It just doesn't seem that much more in trouble today than it was in 2003 or 2004. You know, I mean, it's been taken over by a hostile force, and it's been that way for some time now. And
I disagree, Michael.
Yeah, I know.
In 2003, you could start a little business and prosper.
Well,
you can't do that.
Right.
Now.
Well, you're talking about. Look, I also see the COVID thing as ending in the next few months. Okay, as soon as there's this transition of power, by April, this COVID story will be no more.
I disagree with that. Tyrants don't give up their power voluntarily. These governors and these...
It's not voluntary. It's not voluntary. Look, we're seeing people protesting everywhere. It's not going to be voluntarily. It's that they don't want these protests against the fucking shutdowns and the government growing at the beginning of the Joe Biden thing. So they're going to have to fucking say, yeah, the vaccine worked or whatever. You know, it's just going to become not a story anymore. Right now, it's this 24/7 story. COVID. That's all they talk about. In April, you know, you're going to hear something about it once a day, you know.
Yeah, well, I think that there's still a chance that Trump is going to expose all this election fraud, and the historical precedent, when it's exposed to such a massive extent, and everybody wants to turn a blind eye to it, or I haven't seen any fraud.
I'm totally down. I am totally down with any and all fraud being exposed. And if there is massive fraud, I hope that it is the whole world gets to see it very clearly.
Well, when you got judges refusing to hear a case, or
I'm just making sure where you guys know where I stand. I'm not against this. I'm and I haven't talked like I'm against this. I'm glad to see someone fighting for the votes.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see Linwood and the Kraken Lady and thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans whom I don't really relate to. I can't really relate to people who think Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior and he's going to come and save the world and that's what we should do. You know, it's okay to pray. It's okay to pray to Jesus, Muhammad, whoever the fuck you want to pray for. But I'm glad people are trying to do something. But if they let the Democrats or the forces behind the Democrats steal this election, we're toast. We're done. It's a precedent set in stone, set in history, and we're a banana republic, and there's no hope for us. There's no hope for us. If Trump had done it to Biden, and I saw the evidence of that, I'd be speaking up for Biden. I don't care who the people running for president are. If it's a stolen election, it's a stolen election. And
that's what I keep saying is and to me that's the way everyone should feel, and probably somewhere inside does feel, is that if there are shenanigans going on with our votes and our elections, we want to know about it. That's again why I'm glad to see someone fighting for the votes.
Yeah, me too. And I don't care who they are. You know, they can be all the biggest born-again Christians in the world, and I'm on their side because they believe in the Constitution, the same document I believe in, the same document Ron Paul believes in. But you know, who's the most salty senator we got? Rand Paul. He's not salty at all, man. It's like, you can speak more powerfully than that. You can call these people out. You know what the root word of politician is? Is polite. And you know why they hate Donald Trump? Because he's not polite. You know, Rosie O'Donnell is a fat freak, you know. It's like, okay, dude, you know, you're kind of improper and grab him by the pussy and all that shit, but at some part in his broken mind, he does believe in the Constitution, and he is standing up for the American people. And anybody with one eyeball working knows we're in uncharted territory. This has never happened before. It's been 10, 11 months now, and I'm not taking it anymore. If I lived in an apartment building, I'd hang my head out the window and said, I'm mad as hell and I'm not taking this anymore. It's like, but what good does that do? You know, you're going to have some, and the people in back rooms, in dirty, dark, smoke-filled rooms that work for the CIA and the Bilderbergs and all these fucking agencies, you know, the RAND Corporation, they've been plotting this stuff out forever. They're miles ahead of us. Oh, well, the next move that the population is going to make is they're going to do this and do that, and we can pull off a false flag here, and we can call them all right-wing, dangerous terrorists, you know, and so they're way ahead of us. I'm unsure about what to do except speak the truth and not let idiots bully me into submission and silence. Other than that, man, I'm as much of a loss as anybody else. I think the difference between me and other people is I do an enormous amount of research in order to find the truth, you know. And so, yeah, man, I'm worried for my country. As goes America, so goes the world, dude. So, you know, and it's not just us. You know, it's the English and the Spanish and the French, and people all over are standing up to this pharmaceutical medical tyranny, because it doesn't make any sense. They're bullshitting you with facts that don't even exist, you know? Who would have thought? I thought I'd be fighting the war machine. You thought you'd be fighting the war machine. You have been fighting the war machine all your whole life.
It's bigger than that. I want people to be able to be free. You know, I mean, the war machine is a huge detriment to that, but I genuinely want people free. I feel when I started this show today, I was talking about the misprogramming that goes on from the time where we you know, the programming begins, which is when we're as small as possible, you know, and it's just it's like we're not programmed to be ourselves. We're programmed to fit in, you know? And if we were programmed to be ourselves, then we'd have all this like independent spirit, and we'd have all this, you know, free will thought, and there would be, instead of, you know, everybody needs to be driving electric cars, there'd be an actual fucking solution. You know what I mean? There'd be this, outside the box thinking and such, and we wouldn't. I just don't think we'd be in this fucking rut that we've been driven into by this giant assholes.
Yeah. So I'm not blind to the peril that we're all in. I mean, remember the MOVE bombing in Philadelphia? They had some black people standing up for their rights in Philadelphia. They were feeding the poor in their neighborhood, and they had guns, and I think guns are legal in Philadelphia, but the police chief didn't like them, so they blew up an entire city block. They dropped a firebomb on a giant apartment building, and they killed God knows how many people, 35 people, something like that, and that was just a police department. So we're in peril. Yeah, the police.
Right, but that was fucking 40 years ago, and 50 years ago, and the point being, not that it doesn't matter anymore, but that we've been in peril for fucking 50 years from this fucking shithole police state government. It's not something new.
Well, tyranny has been going on in one form and to different extremes all throughout history. Let's remember that a prospering country called Libya 7 years ago, you get married, you get $50,000 free dollars from the government, and they had the largest water system in the world, or at least in Africa, and gasoline was 14 cents, and the government would subsidize any business you wanted to open, and now it's an open-air slave market that Turkey's trying to take over, by the way. But that's democracy for you. That's the American empire. We destroy a country, and as long as it's far away, we get to lie about it on TV, and we're the good guys. No, you're not the good guys. The war machine is not good. The medical tyranny is not good. The political corruption is not good. And the apathy that is rampant in the American people, it's not attractive. It's not sane. It's not brave. I'm so ashamed of people that are so afraid to stand up to their government. It's like it's right there in the Constitution. I was active in Occupy Wall Street, Occupy LA. I was down there all the time. They squished us like we were rats, like we were cockroaches.
Yeah.
And so
that's what they always do. That's what they always do to the people when the people go into the street. When righteous people go into the street, that's the first thing they always do. Go ahead.
If I was president, I would say, hey, you American population, you have the right to go into the streets and petition your government for changes. As long as you don't burn anything and you're not creating havoc and killing people or attacking anybody, that's your constitutional right. But what president has ever said that? Never. Not since Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever said that?
Yeah.
So, we're in World War III, and it ain't pretty. It's not sane when you got an entire population so browbeaten and beat down and mind-controlled and traumatized that they won't even stand up for their own God-given human rights. That's not attractive. That's not. I'm tempted to say I'm ashamed of my country, but I'm right in the middle of history, and I'm doing my best to ride the waves of history and help as many people as I can. And I'm true to life. I'm true to my own spirit. I'm true to my own beliefs, and my beliefs aren't with the left or the right or the Democrats or the Republicans or this, communism or capitalism. It's like if we would just really have a free capitalistic system under a democratic republic, and we obey and we stuck to the principles of the Constitution, we wouldn't need communism. We wouldn't need socialism. Social programs are good.
Yeah, exactly. Social programs are good. So, I mean, look, if we just held the criminals accountable, we wouldn't need to continue down a stupid path. Okay, and you know, if we had a genuine free market, if there wasn't this fucking endless lie to the people, endless misprogramming of the people, misinforming of the people. Oh, marijuana has no medicinal qualities. For how many generations we have to listen to that shit? You know, I mean, and watch a police state built around it. You know, so fuck the police state, fuck the government, and the American people can do better, but we have to come together. It can't be this left-right bullshit anymore, this Republican-Democrat bullshit anymore, because that's how they win. All right, hey, I gotta go, Mike.
All right, take care, my brother. Keep up the good fight, and I don't hate anybody. I heard what Pete said, but I don't hate anybody. I try not to hate anybody. If I hate anybody, it's people that are. I don't hate anybody. Fuck it. But everybody just be good. Be nice humans. That's the bottom line. Be a nice human. Okay, take care, bro.
Okay, talk to you soon, I hope. Bye. Okay, so that's our buddy Mike from Southern California. I have very little time left on the air this evening, so if you want to call, now's the time to do it. The number is 805-669-6397. We have, I think we have a caller on the line. And then also, but if you want to call, please feel free, 805-669-6397. It's right there on the screen. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike. I'm a 3-time caller.
Right on.
You got aggravated with me last time I called because I was talking about how good our Constitution is, but our Constitution is not working.
You know,
I mean, it can't work for some people and not the other people.
I agree.
I mean, it can't work for the rich.
I agree.
You know, I think about the laws. The Constitution is just a small document. It's not very big at all. Hell, you can read it in 30 minutes or an hour at the most.
Sure.
And I look at the law libraries. Every state has a law library for each state, and it covers damn walls. I remember years ago when Playboy, and yeah, I read Playboy after I looked at the pictures, but they talked about blue laws. I remember Connecticut had a blue law that it said it was illegal to make love in a shopping cart on Sundays.
In a shopping
now,
cart?
What the hell kind of a law is that?
In a shopping cart?
Yeah. On Sundays, though. Only on Sundays.
Well, you know, that's the Lord's Day, so we can't have no shopping cart fuckers running around on the Lord's Day. Come on.
So say half the laws we have in each state are probably unconstitutional.
I agree.
But you know what it takes to change a law? I mean, Jesus Christ, you need lawyers to start with. You got to go to the lawyer courts. Then you go to a higher court before you get to the Supreme Court to change it.
Yeah.
You better have a pocket full of money to do that.
Yeah. No, it's horrible. I agree. The people have been over criminalized. I mean, that's what I keep saying. It's like you can't even be. It's illegal to be human, basically. You know.
What's that damn law where they're taking money, items, and all kinds of shit? Civil forfeiture.
Yeah.
I mean, that shit has got to be unconstitutional.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. And it doesn't. And why aren't we having this discussion? You know, why aren't we talking about, you know, freedom and making our world a better place, as opposed to these fucking idiotic, you know, never-ending wars we have to invest in the fear that we have to fucking, you know, breathe every moment of every day. Why aren't we having this discussion about making a better tomorrow? I don't see that happening anywhere. You know.
No, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
And this shit about sending the people $600, I mean, $600, $2,000, that's a crock of shit.
I agree.
I mean, that's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. What's $2,000 going to do for anybody? It's going to give them, you know, like a little tiny bit of like a gasp of air before they go down, you know, and drown. You know, it's not.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that $2,000 would feel good, you know, to get it, but shit, it'd be gone and bam, you know, it's gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go straight to the marijuana store with mine.
Well, They don't have that yet, man. I'm in the Carolinas.
Oh,
they don't
well,
have that shit.
well,
yet.
honestly, I'm not going to go to. It's unfortunate that you don't. Once you get it, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's like the candy store for adults, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
I mostly just go to my neighbor. I just go to my neighbor. I like what my neighbor has better than the marijuana store, anyway.
Yeah, I see where you grow your own, man.
That too.
Yeah, well, see, my grandfather was a farmer, and when I was a kid, I used to have to help him sometimes, but I didn't pay attention, you know. I didn't want to do that, and I wish the hell I had paid attention.
It's not overly complicated. I mean, anybody who wants to grow flowers can do that, you know, basically.
Well, yeah, well, here's the deal. I can remember years ago, I thought it was the leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I threw a bunch. I tried growing it, and it would come up so far, and then it wouldn't do shit. But I just threw a bunch of seeds out in the yard, and shit, they came up like crazy.
Yeah.
But I thought it was the leaves. I didn't know it was the damn buds.
Yeah. Well, you figure it out. You know, I mean, it again, and the seed varieties and stuff that they have these days are amazing. So it's almost like they grow themselves. You just have to make sure they get a little bit of water and a little bit of food. So if that's something that you want to do, it's not that complicated.
Yeah, well,
all I'm saying is you didn't have to learn it from your grandfather. That's all.
Well, you know, as far as growing stuff, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. I'm paranoid here growing it here, though.
You want to be careful. If it's something that could fuck up your world, I don't recommend doing it, honestly. I don't want people to fuck up their world. You know what I mean? That's the worst. In Washington State here, it's still illegal for people to grow marijuana. You can go down to the fucking you can go down to the weed store and you can buy a big old bag of marijuana, but you can't go and plant flowers in your backyard and grow your own, which is a bunch of bullshit. And it's been legal here for like 7 years now to buy weed, and for some reason they can't get it passed so that people can grow their own. You have to be a medical patient, otherwise you can't grow it here. So it's go ahead.
Going back to the laws.
Yeah.
You know, I think they should legalize all drugs.
I agree 100%.
Straight across the board, and I don't mean regulate them.
No.
Because then they tax them. You can only do this. You can only do that.
Right.
I mean, there are laws in the book. Like if you kill somebody, whether you're through drugs or whatever, it's against the law to kill somebody.
Right.
That should be the goddamn law right there. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
You don't need a damn law that it's bad for you. It's you know what I'm saying?
I think people, again, like I said, that it's basically illegal to be human. You know, for 1,000 generations, this species has used cannabis as food, as medicine, as a party thing, and then just the last few generations, it's like, oh, you're a fucking evildoer if you use reefer madness. You're gonna get the reefer madness, man. You know, so
yeah, I can remember that movie, Reefer Madness. Yeah,
I just found
years ago.
They made a remake of it. I just found a remake of it. I'm gonna go watch it after we get done here. It's a 2005 edition. So,
really?
Yeah, and it's got.
Is it called Reefer Madness?
It's called
remake, or
it's called Reefer Madness.
Just Reefer Madness?
Yeah, it's 2005, and it stars Kristen Bell, which I don't know if you know who that is, but she's very popular. She's on it.
Yeah, she's on the name sounds familiar.
She's on a TV show with Ted Danson called The Good Place. Little blondie.
Okay.
Little blondie. Very cute.
I know Good Place, and I know Ted Danson.
Yeah. Little blondie. She's very cute. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna go watch it. We watched The Fifth Element on Christmas Day, which was fucking great. We were laughing our asses off.
Well, heck, man, you know, years ago when you were, what was it, C-SPAN junkie?
Yeah.
That's where I found you, was C-SPAN junkie. You didn't have video then. You weren't on video.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't want to influence people with my stunning looks and amazing charm. You know.
Well, you old hippie bastard.
I wanted people to make up their own minds. I wanted people to see what was happening and to, be able to say, hey, this doesn't seem right, as opposed to me telling them, hey, look, this is evil, evil doers or whatever. I didn't want to tell people what they're supposed to think, because there's so much of that goes on. I just wanted to show people, look at this horrible thing that's happening, and it's being done in your name,
All right, well, look, we've been in a shit storm for years, but we are in a super shit storm right now. Where do you think we're headed?
I think that you can only be in a super shit storm for so long until things clear up. Or they go one way or the other. Either the ship sinks or, the skies clear up. And either way, I think that, we're going to get through it. I think that we're a lot stronger than the media, than the programming wants us to believe. I think that the American people have had just about enough. I see it in communities back and forth across the country, and I'm
seeing it in Republicans. I'm seeing it in liberals. I'm seeing it in a shitload of people that they're all thinking, what in the hell are they doing?
Yeah. Not in my name. Enough. I've had enough. So I think it's got to head a better direction because, you got to admit it's getting better. It can't get much worse, So I think we're okay. It's a much better attitude to have. Okay, if you want to move forward and make anything good happen in the world, if you think that everything is shit and it's only going to get worse, it's going to be very difficult to make anything positive happen. So do your best to believe, things are going to get better.
Okay, be positive.
Well, it's just going to be a lot easier on you. That's all I'm telling. It's so much easier to go through life with a smile on your face than talking about, and this is the kind of shit that pisses me off, and this pisses me off, and that fucker from yesterday or last week, man, I'm gonna get that fucker back for last week. You know what I mean?
I can relate to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of difficult to go. I don't know that it's difficult. See, the thing is, right? I had to go to a hospital a couple months ago, and I've had a little bit of trouble with just common everyday things that you take for granted doing. Like taking things in and out of the refrigerator has become frustrating all of a sudden, and I never experienced in my life. I always wonder why people are always kind of so negative and always experiencing, they always seem like they're so frustrated, because I just kind of go through life going la 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 la, because it's easier that way. And now I'm experiencing these little frustrating things, and I'm really having to and it's just this most basic, simple stuff. And I was like, God, I never knew this was so frustrating, to take something out of the refrigerator. And it's like I have to not give into that because that's the way it works. Is you give into that, and then it's the next thing makes it even more mad, and then you just keep getting more and more upset and frustrated and mad, and it's just so much easier if you don't have to carry that around with you everywhere you go.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, man. I'm glad I would like to see you on at least 5 days a week. You've been on the weekends occasionally, but I would like to see that 5 days a week.
Okay, well,
and I'm
go ahead.
And you got some callers that I really like the guy from Southern California.
Yeah. Michael.
A few others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's look, I really like doing the show, and I promise I'm going to get it back. With the new year coming, I guarantee you we're going to start doing 5 days a week. No problem. I honestly would like to do, I don't want to do so much 6 days a week as more. I would like to do a couple of days maybe where I do an afternoon show and then do an evening show later on in the day. If I could get a flow with that, I kind of like that idea. So it's not that I'm trying to get out of doing shows. I don't want anybody to think that. I am. I've had a lot to go through the last little bit, and I had to take care of the dog and myself, and got to make sure that we're getting better. And I honestly feel that we both are. So and like I said, this is what I want to be doing. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here in the first place. So we'll get back to 5.
Well,
we'll get back to 5 days a
When you
week.
first went off, I thought they took you off the air.
Yeah.
Saying, "Son of a bitch."
Those fuckers. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Hey, but look, I'm gonna get off here, man.
What's your name?
Ray.
Ray?
From the Carolinas. Ray from the Carolinas.
All right, Ray. Well, it's good to hear from you, man. We're really glad you called, and thanks very much for your good input, dude.
All right, man. Yeah, keep trucking.
All right. Well, I look forward to talking to you soon, Ray. Stay cool, man.
All right. Bye.
All right. So, unless we have another caller, we are just about out of here. If anybody wants to call, the number is 805-669-6397. We will. Looks like we got another caller. Hello, caller.
Hey, Max, how's it going?
Okay, how about you?
I'm happy.
You are?
I'm very
That's
happy.
not usual. What are you so happy about? What are you happy about, Manny?
$2,000 free.
Oh, yeah.
That's a Christmas bonus.
It's a Christmas miracle. You get $2,000, and you get $2,000, and you get $2,000. Everybody gets $2,000. Woo!
And you know what's going to happen with those $2,000? They're going to be gone right away because I'm going to pay my debts.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, it's good to get your bills paid. I mean, it's nice to not have that hanging over your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pay my bills, and I don't have to worry about, my credit card and stuff and all those things that you spend over Christmas, and I can sleep better now.
Yeah, good. That's good. I'm really glad to hear you say that you're happy, Manny, because a lot of times you call up and you sound pretty frustrated, man.
Well, I am frustrated with a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
Especially politics. But right now, let's just be happy for a single day of the week.
Yeah, there you go.
$2,000. So I heard you gonna go and buy green with that money, isn't it?
I'm probably not gonna get a check, Manny. So you know.
Why?
Because I didn't get a $1,500 check, so I seriously doubt that I'm gonna get one for $2,000. I'm not about to set myself up hoping that I'm gonna get $2,000 and then not get it and be fucking pissed and angry and fucking maybe painting myself into a corner because I spent a little bit more money than I should have. I absolutely not expecting to get one penny of that money, Manny. So you know.
You probably want to get it back during your income tax period, though, because if you didn't get it by the mail, back in April, I think there's a way to get it back when you fill out your income taxes. So I think that's what happened in 2008, right? Like people who fill out their income taxes, they got their $1,200 money.
Yeah.
During the filling of the income taxes, so they didn't deposit like you do this year.
Yeah.
I think they give you like a $1,200 credit in 2008 just because you existed. That's it.
Huh. Well, we'll see how it works. But like I said, I'm not counting on it. It's not something that I'm not running off to the weed store just yet, Manny.
Man, you better get ready now because the weed stores are going to be full of people.
Yeah.
I will check state conditions.
So what's going on in Eastern Washington? It's cold there?
Yeah, it's snow on Christmas Day. It's a lot of snow, man. It's a Christmas miracle. A lot of snow over here.
I think that we had a little bit of snow in the front yard up until a couple days ago.
Yeah, you know the weirdest thing about Seattle though? Like I used to work on a contract in Everett for one of those Boeing contractors in Everett. And last year it was snowing strongly over there, remember? And then you guys got all the way to Bellevue and it was clear. It looked like it just rained over there. So there's something, they told me there's a weird phenomenon that happened on the Everett area where the weather is so unpredictable that it's hard for the people that work on the news to tell you exactly what's going to happen in Everett.
Everett, there's something weird. There's always kind of something weird happening in Everett. It's kind of a strange place.
It is. So they say Seattle is a strange place, but Everett is even weirder.
I don't know that Seattle is such a strange place. Seattle is pretty typical these days. It used to be a very cool place. It seems somewhat less cool these days.
Yeah, because of the corona.
Well, I think before the corona it was having its issues. But I love Seattle. Don't get me wrong. I love Seattle. I love the people of Seattle. I think, and it has always been a really cool place. It's like the center of artsy town. You know, where lots of cool things happen. So
I don't know. So 2020 has been very weird. It definitely changed everything. Because I remember walking in Seattle, and this is fall of last year. See a lot of people walking around, a lot of tourists, a lot of people performing in the streets, a lot of nice coffee in downtown, and you go to Capitol Hill and all these like fancy art places and stuff, and now you go there and it's all boarded up, like nobody wants to go there, like it's a ghost town, dude.
I don't know. I haven't been downtown much for some time. I'm social distancing.
That's good, man. That's good. You are in that vulnerable group. You should keep yourself distancing.
I'm happy just to take my dogs for a walk. You know, I mean, I feel really, really happy to be able to do that on a beautiful day like today. Today was absolutely gorgeous. I don't need. There was a time when I needed to be downtown, and I lived downtown for many years, and I love Seattle. I absolutely love Seattle. I love downtown Seattle. I don't know what it's like anymore. I haven't spent any time there for since I moved to the suburbs, more or less.
Where do you live now? You live in up north, Bellevue, Redmond.
Edmonds.
Edmonds.
Yeah.
That's good. I used to live in Bellevue, Redmond now. So it's more quieter though. The vibe is completely different on the other side of the lake.
Yeah, I don't really. I've spent a little bit of time in Redmond. I spent a little bit of time in, Kirkland, Bellevue area, but. I love downtown. I really do. I just love being close to the sound. I love the sound. I wouldn't mind living on the Lake Washington, but I for some reason I'm much more drawn to the larger bodies of water. I don't know.
I don't know, dude, but it's like a completely different type of personality when you cross the lake.
Yeah.
Like when you're on the east side, it's one type of personality, and it drastically changes once you cross the lake.
Yeah.
It's so freaking weird, dude. I can see why people love Seattle, though. And I can see why people are so that they have their issues with the east side and the west side of Seattle.
Yeah, well, it's the east side, Bellevue can be very not welcoming. You know what I mean? They seem.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed when.
Yeah.
The protest that happened on a Saturday. The following day, there was a follow-up protest in Bellevue, and all the people on the suburban in Bellevue, they had their guns and weapons ready in case the Black Lives Matter protest wanted to go into the neighborhood. I remember that, and I was laughing so hard, man.
I have a video. Actually, I don't think I got it, but I have one that's I'm in the process of getting ready to play for you guys, and it's about how less than 25% of Washington State cops have body cameras and dashboard cameras on their cars and themselves, and it shows the Mercer Island police chief, right? And the Mercer Island chief is against cameras, and he's talking about how cameras don't always, explain things as perfectly as people think, and lots of people interpret, what they say differently. And I'm just thinking, this is exactly what a dirty cop sounds like. This is what a cop sounds like who takes fucking cash payment from fucking people on, in the richest part of Seattle. Oh yeah, we don't want to have cameras because then we can't fucking do our side deals with the people. Fuck.
Yeah, there's not even the little own gated community though. Like Mercer Island is a natural gated community.
Yeah,
that's where it is. Mercer Island, Medina, and the east side, so like the west side of Bellevue.
Yeah, that's where fucking Gates lives and shit.
And like freaking Bezos as well.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos lives in that area. But yeah, like Mercer Island is like their own gated community without being a gated community. I've been in Mercer Island. A lot of Jewish people live there, dude. Don't get me wrong. Like, and it looks it's super quiet. It's super nice, especially if you live outside of the island. Like, damn, I wish I could live there. I have the money to live there, dude. But yeah, it looks very nice though, and I can see why people are super conservative over there, and they raise their weapons when the Black Lives Matter protests wanna create chaos in the community.
Well, look, I don't think there's anything to fear from the Black Lives Matter community, and I think that I think there's a lot more damage that gets done from the Mercer Island community than will ever be done from the Black Lives Matter community. So we're clear, and they do it, with the fucking blessing of the U.S. government. So.
I see. All right, man. I just want to say hi and enjoy your check.
Yeah, okay, man. It was good to hear from you. I hope you had a nice. I hope you had a nice holiday.
You too.
Okay, see ya. And that's our buddy Manny from the East Side. He used to live in Seattle, and then he moved to the East Side after the COVID started. East Side of Washington, Eastern Washington, that is. Let's see. Okay, so if anybody wants to call, the number's right there on the screen. It's 805-669-6397. Otherwise, I'm pretty much done here because we have other things that we have to move on to. Actually, like I said, Craig's got to go to Eastern Washington tomorrow for work, so he's got to leave early in the morning, and I don't want to and he won't quit doing this if I don't stop, so I don't want to keep him up all night. I want to let him get a little bit of rest. So, if anybody wants to call, the number's right there, 805-669-6397. And otherwise, thanks so much for tuning in. I don't think we're going to do this tomorrow night. Craig, are you going to be able to do this, or are you going to be... Yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do this tomorrow night because, like I said, Craig has to go to Eastern Washington, so... but we'll be back this week, hopefully Wednesday night, and you never know what other night of the week we may do Thursday, Friday. You never know. Well, as far as I know, I don't have any plans. So keep your eyes open, and otherwise, hopefully after the beginning of the year, after the start of the year, next week, we'll be able to start doing 4 or 5 nights a week, because I know you guys would like that, and I would like that too. So thanks so much for tuning in. It's always better when you're here. Never forget that. We'll be back as soon as I can. And until then, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is going to end.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.